Visit www.quico.in.
Crickle, play and should.
Him again on the pads, worked into the onside, straight to short mid-wicket. Karthik does the fielding, and there's no run. And he was saying, Poor Farbrace, that when it hit the seam it was popping up, and when it hit the leather it was skidding through, and so we were getting the impression of the pitch being two-paced, when actually it was sort of clever bowling that was...
Yeah, you've got to have that sort of skills nowadays, because the bowlers feel that it's very good for batting, so you've got to mix it up. You have to have that variation up your sleeve.
Pomeroy into Shakib, who just works his squarer this time on the onside. It was on his pads, and he's going to get a single as Karthik comes round to the field. One more to him. He moves to 6:45 for one in the 11th over. But then again, I think it was CricViz, they had a kind of measure out of 10 for the speed of the pitch, and it had started at 5.1 and ended at 2.5 over the course of the innings, which might make timing the ball difficult. Shunga Sarko has got 16 off 28, and he normally goes off quicker than that. Joe Root found it difficult the other day. KL Rahul found it difficult against England. Bumrah is into Sarko. Oh, cuts in the air, and it's flying away towards the cover boundary. It's a man out there, and he fields it. And they come through for a single, 46 for 1. Sarkar's at 17.
Yeah, Bangladesh batsman, the pair in the middle, Shakib Al Hasan, you know how well he has batted, and with that lovely on drive, you'd see the man in total control and excellent form with touch with the bat, but you would be needing support from the other end, and it's all depends how well the others bat around him. You would want to have Shakib bat till the very end, if possible.
Bumrah is into him. Bowles, short ball down the leg side, which is going to be called a wide. Relatively rare occurrence from Bumrah, a wide. 47 for 1. Yeah, indeed, if Shakib bats until the end, you fancy Bangladesh would get over the line. I mean, he's just had a phenomenal World Cup, hasn't he? Before this innings, 476 runs. Look, he's coming in at number 3, so he's playing as a batsman. I suppose the fact that we see him bowl so much blinds us to the realisation that he is also a top-line batsman. Bumrah is into him. Oh, and he gets wrapped on a bit of pad, maybe a touch of bat. It rolls out to the onside where Hardik Pandya does the fielding. There is no run off the last ball of a Bumrah over that conceded 7. 47 for 1, 11 overs gone. Shakib Al Hasan has 6, Umya Sarkar has 17.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, and they will also need to look at the scoring rate, because you really don't want to get too far behind as the run rate will keep climbing up. So it's not about only scoring and dealing in boundaries, it's also about rotating the strike. So very crucial for the batsman in the middle to realize that even if you don't pick up a boundary, you don't miss out on singles. There are enough gaps around, and you got to put some pressure back on to India.
Mohammad Shami's coming back in. 1 for 8 from 2 overs so far, coming in from the pavilion end. Umya Sarkar is facing him. Right arm around the wicket, full, driven gloriously through extra cover for 4. 2 full, and he found the gap. That's exactly how he bats, and it's beautiful to watch when it comes off. A 50 up in the 12th over. Bangladesh 51 for 1. Sarkar to 21.
Yeah, he does take a few chances early on in the innings, but this time is a glorious cover drive all along the carpet. Nice elbow, right elbow up, and then just drills it through that gap between the cover and mid of field. I was talking about the gaps, and you can find gaps. It's not only easy to rotate strike, it's also easy to pick up boundaries.
Comes Shami again. It's on the pads. It's a huge appeal. Going down leg, I would have said. Shami's convinced, the crowd's convinced, the crowd would be convinced. Murray Erasmus is unmoved now. They all get together, and we shall see. Dhoni's heavily involved in this, talking to Kohli. They're going for it. Well, my initial feeling was that with the angle, it was going down the leg side. Okay, TV umpires Alim Dar. That's a voice you'll be able to hear.
Fair delivery, spin win, please.
All right, inside edge we're looking for now. It's going to be an inside edge. Hold that from quite wide of the crease with the angle. Although it does hit him, well, it hits him just on the knee roll, just under it. So the height will not be an issue. This is all about the angle. That's hit him in front of middle and leg, Utter. Where's your money here?
Well, since he's coming so, wide of the wicket.
Now, wait a minute, because bat and pad are so close together, and this has been given not out, don't forget.
Yeah.
This is going to be tough for Alim Dar. He's going to have to look at this a lot, because there could be an ambiguity as to whether that's hit bat first.
Well,
Can you zoom for me from this?
You're looking at the ultra edge, and the moment the bat has just gone close to the ball, there is a big spike.
There's a big spike. The problem is it has the ball just hit the pad first or not? And the frame that we've got, it's sort of in between frames, Utter, isn't it?
Yeah, and
how do you tell from that?
Yeah, difficult, but also the fact that the umpire Erasmus has not given it out,
exactly.
So it has to hit flush on.
Can you give me split screen?
So we'll have to wait and see.
I would say that because this has been given not out, he might have to go with the assumption that this has hit the bat.
Move forward, go back, move forward, go back.
Because he's looking at the image we've got. Yes. The ball is between frames. I think he's going to have to give this not out, is my feeling. I could be wrong, but bat and ball
bat is very close to the bat.
Is so close together.
I stay with the on-field.
Yes.
Go go back on field.
Yeah, this is it. It's going to be not out. Now, it could have been that it was pad first, but we'll never get to see. Well, I say we'll never get to see. We're unlikely now to see the ball tracking, which I think might have shown it just clipping leg. But India have lost their review with that, and Kohli is not happy. I'm afraid there's nothing that the umpire can do about that, because once it's been given not out, the frame that's missing.
But it's a glitch in the rules, isn't it?
Is,
because
yeah.
that should be an umpire's call, because there wasn't decisive proof either way, was there? So why should
Yes,
they
I
lose
think
a review?
That's a very good point.
It's a glitch in the regulations.
That's a very good point. It's also a glitch in the cameras. Do they not need to have another camera that's offset by another frame,
They need
so to speak?
a hotspot or something, don't they? That clears those ones up.
Well, I don't think you'd be able to see it, because the pad would have obscured the inside edge. You'd have really struggled.
The heat stays on the bat for a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, look, it might have hit the bat, but the question is, did it hit the pad first? Because we've got the problem with the frame, you can't tell. So the third umpire had to do that.
Yeah, when the ball strikes the pad, it looks like it might have just kissed the bat also. The bat is so close to the ball.
It is what it is. I didn't think it was a great review to start with, I have to say. As Shami is in, and that's short, turned off the hip by Shami Osaka for a single. He gets through easily enough as the shy comes in. Virat Kohli was not happy about that at all, but I'm afraid if you make marginal referrals, this will happen. We've just seen the ball tracking, which shows that the ball would have kissed a leg stump, and it would have been umpire's call, so the review would have been retained. But because I think that's been given not out because of the inside edge, the review will have been lost. That could yet prove important for Bangladesh and for India. 52 for 1. Bangladesh, as Shami is in again. Oh, and that beats the outside edge. Shakib's bat goes through on the bounce to the keeper, and there's no run. Just a reminder that for Bangladesh, this is a must-win game, otherwise they cannot qualify for the semi-finals if they lose this. If they tie it, well, they know they can't either, because they wouldn't have enough wins.
They've got to win it.
They've got to win.
They've got to try to win it from here on. 9 wickets in hand.
Shami is around the wicket to Shakib, such an important player for Bangladesh. And Shakib just waits for this and guides it to backward point. Pandya does the fielding, and there's no run.
He hardly gives anything away, does he, Mohammad Shami? Right on the money, right from the word go. Yes, he over-pitched earlier on when Shubman Shakar hit him through the covers for a boundary, but he's hardly given anything away. Everything is on the stumps.
I'm going to give you news of England's women in the Ashes at the end of this, Owen, because that match is continuing. You can listen to that on Radio 4 Longwave or online across the BBC today. We're sticking here until the end of this match, and then Sports Extra will take over the women's Ashes as Shami is in, and that's guided down nicely, waited for and glided down to third man for a single by Shakib. He'll keep the strike. He has 7. Bangladesh at the end of the 12th over, 53 for 1. Well, England have lost their 6th wicket. They started abysmally. They were 19 for 4. Then Fran Wilson departed 44 for 5. A 54-run partnership between Catherine Brunt, who made 20, and Nat Siver, who is still there, restored some semblance of hope and respectability. But Brunt is out for 20 from 49. Nat Siver, as I say, has 42 from 72 balls. England 102 for 6. Their World Cup final hero, Anya Shrubsole, is there. And there's a bit of batting to come. Laura Marsh, Sophie Eccleston, Kate Cross. But England in deep, deep trouble in that first one-day international at Grace Road. So we're going to see some spin. Yuzvendra Chahal is going to come in from the City end. He had a pretty tough time of it at the hands of England the other day. Was it 88 he went for? Thank you, Andy. 88 in his 10 overs. Were you quite surprised that they decided to stick with Chahal but leave out Kuldeep?
Yeah, it was a surprise for me, because I thought perhaps looking at the pitch surface itself, I just thought perhaps there was a bit more for the spinners. Because if you look at the way England took on the spinners in that match, they always tried to target in that arc between the mid-wicket to cover area, and hardly anything square of the wicket. So they really took on the bowlers very early and did the trick, did the damage early on.
Well, indeed, and Ravindra Jadeja still can't get a look in as Chahal is in, and that's short. And just a gentle little flip from Shakib. A very, very clever shot for first ball. That's not going to do Chahal's confidence any good at all. It was a poor ball, it was short, but Shakib didn't try and overhit it, far from it. He used a little bit of finesse and just waited for it and helped it round the corner. Very fine. On down the leg side for 4. There's a bit of turn there. To the right-hander, that would have been a pretty decent ball. To the left-hander, not so much. 57 for 1.
Yeah, I think it was just a bit on a shorter side, and that just allowed Shakib to play that similar kind of shot. Now they've got a leg gully in, or maybe a leg slip in.
Immediately. Immediately. Well, they've seen a bit of turn, perhaps, as Chahal is in, and rocking back is Shakib. Plays it off the back foot into mid-wicket, where Pandya does the fielding. There's no run. Is Jadeja out there fielding, by the way? He is. Well, I should hope so too. I mean, we're into the 13th over. There's Chahal bowls, and this ball's work back on the wicket. There's no run. Who's he fielding for? Is it for?
Dhoni's not keeping.
So we think Dhoni's injured. As Chahal bowls, and that's down the leg side, and he just evades that leg gully. He goes down to long leg. They come back for a second. Good throw comes in from Shami over the top of the stumps. 2 more to the total. 59 for 1. Shakib 13. So, well, I'd love to get the stats on just how far Ravindra Jadeja has run in this World Cup, because I think it might be further than any other Indian fielder, despite never having been in the starting 11. Chahal in, and Shakib watchfully pushes this into the onside, starts off for a run that is not there, is sent back by his partner. Last ball of the 13th over coming up. Bangladesh 59 for 1. We'll come to you, Andy, at the end of the over. Hopefully you have information for us. Chahal comes in, and that's just works again at the onside. Again, he can't beat Pandya, who's quickly onto the ball at short mid-wicket. End of the over, 13 gone. Shakib 13, Yosaka has 22 from 32, 59 for 1, 13 overs bowled. Dhoni's back on. So, okay. Dhoni's back on. Who was...
Pant kept wicket rather than Kartik, which was...
Okay, Pant kept wicket, but he's got all of his gear on. So, Jadeja will stay out there for Pant. Is Rohit Sharma out there? Can you see Sharma?
I think I can. Right there.
Yes, you're right, admit on. But, I mean, Jadeja can't come off, so someone else has got to come off for Jadeja, you know. It's the only way it can work. That's the rule.
And he's at mid-off, Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
2 left-handers,
Shami into Saka. And, advancing, Wallach down the ground. What an ambitious shot that is. One bounce, skips over the boundary for 4. Mid-off, up inside the circle. He used his feet gloriously. Didn't quite get to the pitch of it, but he used his timing and his brute strength to knock it over the top of Rohit Sharma at mid-off. Wow, what a shot that is.
Yeah, he likes to play that kind of a shot, Somashaka, when it's in the zone, in the slot. He will just go through the shot, knowing that the fielders are inside the circle. And when you connect enough, it will go eventually to the boundary. One bounce over to the fence.
63 for 1. Shami into him once more. He just waits for it, defends it, glides it down to third man for a single. 64 for 1. I mean, you say when it's in the slot, he kind of made it into the slot, didn't he?
Yeah, because he went down the wicket, and it's always good to see a batsman taking a few chances, especially in the very first delivery. And if it does come off, then it just releases the pressure, and they can go back to the basic, looking for singles, keep rotating strikes. So they picked up 5 in the first 2 deliveries from Mohammad Shami.
Shakib back on strike. Long leg, third man. Cover. Mid-off is up, as is mid-on. Shami in, and Shakib just drives this. Short extra cover, there's no run. 64 for 1. What have you got for me there?
I sent a picture by my son, who spotted that Shakib doesn't have the tiger on his shirt.
Ooh, really?
You see this?
Well, yes, I'm looking at a picture of a Bangladesh shirt that is tigerless.
Yes, but the others seem to have it on.
You've got a very eagle-eyed son, haven't you?
Can you you explain that?
No, I can't. There's Shami is in. The Shaki bouncer. Ducks underneath it. No run. Prakash. Do you think? Oh, lucky shirt. Can you make any sense of this, Arthur?
I really can't understand why is that, because usually you would have that tiger on the emblem itself. There is a tiger. Maybe it's a bit darker. It's still there. I'm sure it's there.
The fans have been bringing in stuffed tigers, but some of the fans actually brought in a very large cat the other day. Shami is in, and that's on the pads, flicked away nicely to square leg for a single by Shaki. He moves to 14, 65 for one. Yes, they managed to smuggle in a huge ginger cat. Did you see that? It was most bizarre.
Alive?
A
live cat.
live, very large ginger cat. I mean, given that it's quite difficult to get, a bottle of water that's not from the correct sponsor into these matches, it's fairly amazing that they could get a huge ginger cat.
The official ICC cat.
Speaking of huge ginger cats, here's Niall O'Brien as Shami is in short. Oh, cut away vigorously. It's going to run away towards the boundary. It's being pursued. It will not be cut off. Another boundary for Shonya Saga in this over. He moves to 31. Bangladesh 69 for one. 10 runs off the over. 14 overs gone.
He's purring along, isn't he?
He is. Niall O'Brien. More on that. And it's going to be Prakash Wakanka.
Well, I've never been described as a big ginger cat before, but there you go. It's the first time for everything. 69 for one. Bangladesh going nice. We've got a cracking game on our hands here. Tamim is gone. No surprise there. Gone early again. Shakib, the main man, and Shomo Saka.
Indeed, and Shakib Al Hassan once again looks to be in very, very good nick indeed. It's 69 for one, and spin. Chahal, the first over, went for 6. Can he make an impression today? He went for 88, remember, against England. And Shomi Sarkar hasn't really set the World Cup alight. His top score of 42 in the first game, and since then he hasn't crossed 30. So leg slip in place. Rohit Sharma has bowls, and he hits him in the pad, looking to work it away on the onside. As much with his body, really, as much as with his bat. Shakib Al Hassan there on 14 of 19. Sarkar is 31 of 35. And we've got, 1, 2, 3 men in the deep on the onside. Chahal bowls, is driven up towards the fielder coming off the long on boundary. Pandya will do the fielding. And they will be in 1 run. 70 now for 1.
Shakib looks like a player playing at the top of his game.
Absolutely.
Finding the middle straight away, rotating the strike. Already 15 of 20, up and running. Shomo Saka needs to kick on here.
Chahal into goal to Sarkar, and played cautiously. It squirts away square of the wicket on the onside, and they will take a single. And the bowler and the batsman collide there, but just a friendly pat on the back. 71 for 1.
Well, 14.3 gone. If they can get a run of ball up to 20 overs, they'll be in a good position. Keep the wickets in hand and just keep rotating, keep ticking.
That's the key. They can't afford to get bogged down. Chahal bowls, and almost sort of fetches it, or looks to fetch it from outside the off stump. Doesn't quite make good contact, and fielded by Virat Kohli. Short third man, back foot point, extra cover, long off, long on, deep mid wicket, man deep back foot is square. As Chahal comes in, tosses this one up, and it's once again punted up the ground towards the wideish long on area for a single by Shakib. It's 72 for 1.
Well, all the men up on the offside for Shakib and Sarkar. So the captain, Kohli, tempting to try and go against the spin through the offside.
Chahal bowls, and once again turned away square of the wicket on the onside. They've taken more than 3 runs in this over, in that area, end of the over as well. 4 off it. It's 15 gone, 73 for 1.
Well, run a ball till 20 will get them to 90, 100, no, 90.
93.
93? 103.
103, sorry.
Beg your pardon, folks. Lunch is just setting in.
Well,
103 off 20 will be a great position to be in. Will set them up nicely. But you're right, they need to keep ticking, keep taking 4 or 5 and over, pick up your odd boundaries, Don't let any bowler settle. And so far, they've been quite proactive against the spinner, looking to get the sweep shots. They've rotated the strike nicely. It's going to be a tough chase.
Hardik Pandya being brought into the attack. Now, this will be interesting because after going for a fair few in his first couple of overs against England, Hardik Pandya picked up what needed to be done on the pitch and bowled rather well towards the latter part. So he's probably going to try and bring some of that experience into play. Shakib just taking a look at that long leg boundary, just figuring out where the fielder is. Hardik comes in and bowls straight away, bowls a slow bouncer, and Shakib ducks underneath. Wide signal by the umpire. It'll be interesting. In fact, it's Shami Sarkar on strike. Both tall men.
Well, Sarkar had a good tour to Ireland before the World Cup, found great form, played really well, a lot of freedom, different competition, obviously different standard, but has struggled a little bit in the World Cup so far.
Here's Pandya bowls. This one's wide and he's gone. He's hit it straight into Virat Kohli's hands. It was a ball that could have been hit virtually anywhere, and he picked out the Indian captain at extra cover, and he's dragging himself off the pitch, and you can understand why. 74 for 2 Bangladesh.
Wow, short and wide. Sarkar's eyes lit up. Could have hit it anywhere, you're quite right. Gets it low on the bat, I think. Virat Kohli at short extra cover takes a nice catch over his head, and then gives him a few words of wisdom and raises his finger to Shomo Sarkar, says, that's out.
Well, Ranjan Badapille might have something to think about that later on. He's already had one demerit point, Virat, in this tournament, and now having a laugh with the umpire. And the drinks come on as well to coincide with the fall of that wicket. And Dharmasena is the man who's come out, the fourth official, and Virat Kohli, I think, still having a word about that review. And this gives us a chance. Let me get your thoughts on that, Niall. As we looked at it, and obviously we'd like to hear what you think. There was generally when the ball hits the pad, you get sort of a big tall spike and a gathering of them, because it's more like a thud.
Yes.
Whereas when it's bat, you typically get a sharp single spike. And in this case, the umpire there, Alindar, the TV umpire, ruling that the ball had hit the bat and therefore did not even go for the front-on spin cam view. And India, as a result, lost the review. And then to add sort of unnecessary controversy, the big screen also showed the front-on view with the ball kissing the stump, saying umpire's call, in which case the review would have been retained.
Yes, it was an interesting one, because looking live, it looked a bit leg side. You know, standing around, it did look leg side.
Which is what was shown when the spin vision came on.
You can understand, you know, losing a review, because it is quite important. These reviews, if they're used incorrectly and you lose it, you know, it could come back to haunt you later in the day. So I can understand the frustration by the fielding side, but yeah, it was an interesting one, really. I'm never really sure about these reviews and this I'm a bit of a technophobe, so we're getting a high five here.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
I don't trust these computers.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, my view has always been that if there is to be technology, it must give an opinion that is definitive and binary. Good, bad, right, wrong, degree of accuracy, all that has to be sorted out before you decide to deploy it. And if you've decided to deploy it, then please give a definitive call. No maybes.
It's like these the soft signals and these low catches.
It makes no sense.
You know, it's when it goes upstairs and they have a look, it actually makes it more distorted. It's more difficult, actually, from someone standing at maybe a square leg, looking to shorten the wicket to see if he's caught it.
Well, this is the pair, isn't it? You get the feeling, in the absence of Mahmudullah Riyad in the side today, it's Shakibul Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim, the two most experienced and the sort of almost bedrock of this Bangladesh batting lineup. They will really need to bat well. Here's Hardik Pandya into bowl to Mushfiqur, who defends, and it's fielded by bowler on his follow-through.
Yeah, my point at the back end of the Indian innings, and you know, just chatting over lunch, Bangladesh can't keep relying on these two. They need the openers to get some runs. They haven't got Mahmudullah Riyad back end this game. He's obviously injured, so time and time again, you can't keep asking the same two, Mushfiqur and Shakib, to keep bailing you out of trouble.
And this one's pushed away again, straight to short mid-wicket, no run. I think Virat Kohli is going to be definitely in trouble. Just watching that replay again, took the catch, looked at Soumya Sarkar, raised his finger, and you could make out from the lips, out. And I don't think that's his job, much as one understands where the frustration might be coming from.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Here's Hardik Pandya now in to bowl to Mushfiqur, again bowls, and it's worked away on the onside, thinks of a run, and sent back quite rightly by the diminutive wicketkeeper.
Well, there is a bit of history running between the wickets between these two. They're not great between the wickets. They've probably played about 1 million games together, so you'd think they might have a slightly better understanding, but has been known to be a run or two between the two from time to time, including this World Cup, I think.
I'm sure that the man on my left will tell us. Here's Hardik in, and Mushfiqur looks to play a hook which he was in no position to, just as well that he didn't find any bat. Goes through to Dhoni, who was off the field for a little while, and Rishabh Pant in fact kept wickets for a few overs. I'm not sure what that was. Maybe just a little bit of treatment for something that was bothering him. But he's back on the field, and it was during that review that it looked quite comical, because inevitably the Indian fielders looked at the keeper, and this one's a genuine outside edge. It flies down. There's nobody there in the slip cordon, and a single will accrue. 75 for 2 at the end of 16.
Well, if you just look through the opening pair for Bangladesh in the series, in the World Cup so far, Iqbal 16, 24, 19, 48, 62, 36. So every game he's got a good start, but not converting, not getting a century. You flip it on the other side, India, Rohit Sharma, centuries. Okay, we're not saying Tamim Iqbal is in the same league as a Sharma, but he's your opening batsman. Needs a bit more output there. Sarkar 42, 25, 2, 29, 10 and 3 before today. Again, starts 10, 29, 25, 40 today, 30 odd. So getting starts, not capitalising. Therefore, Bangladesh not getting the scores they need to either chase down or put enough runs on the board to defeat a New Zealand, etc. at the Oval.
And in spite of that, they've chased close to 300, crossed close to 300 3 times. Now the right-handed Mushfiqur with a slip in place in the shape of Rohit Sharma, and Yuzvendra Chahal is the bowler. Comes in bowls, and Mushfiqur drives up towards wideish long off, single, 76 for 2. On to 2, Mushfiqur.
Well, he's a busy player.
Oh, yes.
Mushfiq's the kind of player, a little bit like a Joe Root or Stephen Smith. You look up at the scoreboard and they're on 20, 22, and their innings is up and running. They're busy, they're scampering, they're turning ones into twos.
Short third man point, extra cover inside the ring on the offside, mid-wicket, and 45 in the ring on the on. 4 men in the deep, as he's allowed to have. And here's Chahal, bowls to, and this one's gone through, including Dhoni. There'll definitely be some bat or pad on it, because it's spun, and the batsmen have taken just a single as it's fielded right below us by Rohit Sharma. No signal from the umpire, so came off the bat. Shakib goes to 17.
Well, I think Dhoni was interested here for a second. A little bit of turn just off the glove down through the legs. Nutmeg Dhoni, no chance for the keeper. He's going to have a slip in for the right-hander, which I like, because there is a little bit of drift, a little bit of turn.
Yes, the ball hitting the glove and then just dropping below, right at Dhoni's feet, really. As Chahal bowls and worked away into the covers, just slower through the air on this occasion. And he had to make a late adjustment in Mushfiq, and he gets 1. He's 3 now, 78 for 2 in the 17th.
And he's typing away there to see if there was a run out, but was I right? Or have you forgotten about it?
I got distracted and started looking up stats about openers this tournament.
Oh, sorry.
I'll get back to the original commission.
Here's Chahal, and it's played to short mid-wicket, no run. I love that statement. Get back to the original commission.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable. Andy Zoltzman, he is the superstar of this commentary box. Here's Chahal bowls, and it's worked away square on the onside. They'll pick up a run. Virat Kohli fields, and it's 79 for 2, and Shakib has gone to 18. Just a period of consolidation needed here.
It'll be interesting to see if Shakib backs himself to hit through the offside. All the men are up for Shakib on the offside. There's a boundary there if he wants to go for it. It's a risky stroke, though.
Chahal comes in, and Mushfiqur drives. Bowler fields of his own bowling, and that's the end of the 17th over. 79 for 2, and Andy is now poised and ready with a smile.
It's Bangladesh's first game of the tournament against New Zealand. Mushfiqur was run out whilst batting with Shakib for 19 against New Zealand.
Niall O'Brien is nailing it today. Every single one of them.
I'd like to say I had my Weetabix for breakfast, but I had a sausage bap instead. Even better. Load of ketchup. Gets me going in the morning.
Well, it's loads of cricket on the BBC on radio with in-play video highlights today. Of course, the Bangladesh-India game, as you're listening to it now. The Women's Ashes, the first ODI in full on Radio 4 of long wave. And of course, we took you there during the interval, and we'll also join that game at the conclusion of the Bangladesh versus India tie. Here's Hardik Pandya goes in and bowls, and this is run down to third man for a single. 80 for 2 now, and Shakib Hassan will go to 19 with that single. Also, the latest Dusra podcast with Isha Guha is available via BBC Sounds, and the latest Tuffers and Warren show with guests Mark Wood, Tammy Beaumont and Marcus Trescothick also available. So lots of cricket for you on the BBC here.
That's your evening taken care of anyway, isn't it?
And then the semi-final, isn't it? The Women's World Cup football. Bowls pushed away on the offside by Mushfiqur, not for runs.
The Lionesses tonight.
Indeed. And Wimbledon in full swing already with a couple of interesting upsets on the women's draw.
You're going next week.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
They're letting you a day off work, are they?
Well, mercifully, there isn't a game on that day.
They'll find you something to do.
Squeeze that in. On the 8th of July, there isn't.
I can find you something to do.
Hardik Pandya from the pavilion end. And Mushfiqur plays a nice controlled pull. He'll get value for it. 4, I think, unless it's dragged in. It is just inside by Mohammad Shami, and they will get 2. So 82 now for 2, and Mushfiq goes to 5.
I tell you, the outfield's quick here at Edgbaston. This ground was soaking wet only 10 days or so ago. Really wet, a lot of rain, but the outfield is rapid.
It is lightning fast.
Rapid.
Great value for strokes once you get it past the inner ring of fielders. And in goes Hardik Pandya. Just asking Shami to get in a few yards. Bowls again, and this time it's pulled. The short arm jab down to Shami, and 1 more to the total and to Mushfiqur. 83 for 2 now. And we're in the 18th over.
Great venue for cricket, this.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And of course, the second of the 2 semi-finals of the World Cup to be played here as well, on the 11th of July. The first at Old Trafford on the 9th. And then, of course, the grand final at the home of cricket. Here's Hardik Pandya now going round the wicket to Shakib. Goes in, bowls nice and full, and he's got it very fine. He's going to run away for 4. No chance for Bumrah, I think, who's down on the squarish third man boundary. And very deliberately played and very well played by Shakib Ul Hasan. Just got enough on it to get it away from Dhoni and helped himself to 4 more.
Well, he often plays a little dab down to the third man. I think this might have been a little bit finer than he wished, but it actually worked out even better for Shakib, because instead of getting 1, gets a boundary. Not much the keeper could do, not much the third man could do.
Here's Pandya in again, bowls, and this time a slower bouncer. He's able to just about navigate and paddle it round for a single for Dinesh Karthik, who's coming in from the deep to field. It's 88 for 2 after 18.
I was thinking the other day looking through the schedule, if you're drawn in the first semi-final, the second, I was trying to figure out as a player which would be better. Play a game on a Tuesday and then wait till Sunday, or you better having a game on the Thursday, maybe having a rest on Friday, having a light practice Saturday, and have the final straight, as opposed to playing on Tuesday, winning by 6 o'clock, and then sitting waiting until Sunday morning for your game. So it's a bit of
Yes, different people will deal with that differently, won't they? I mean, there'll be people who will enjoy the additional days just to recoup, recover, get your mind, get your strategy in, and there'll be others who will want to just get on with it. Chahal starts a fresh over, and this time he was really winding up with Shakib for a big one over mid-wicket. In the end, it was too full, just got it to Kohli at this mid-wicket inside the ring, and there's no run. 88 for 2. You just think a big shot's coming here. Chahal to Shakib down the wicket, wristily whips it. Kohli is quickly on it and will make sure no run is taken.
Well, he's only looking leg side here, Shakib, and he might be well advised to maybe have a look through the offside. trying to get himself in a good position to hit through the covers.
Chahal comes in, bowls, and he works it square of the wicket on the onside. There'll be one for Rohit Sharma, who comes off the boundary and fields. And it's 89 for 2.
Shakib Al Hassan with his single off the last ball of Pandya's over reached 500 runs for the tournament, the first Bangladesh player to achieve that milestone in any World Cup, the 13th overall and the 4th this tournament after Rohit, Aaron Finch and David Warner.
2 Aussies in that. Chahal bowls, it's worked away fine. He'll take an effort, he fails. It's Hardik Pandya there. I thought he could have done better. He's a better fielder than that. And it's gone down to fine leg for 4 runs. 93 for 2. Chahal hands on hips.
Yeah, leg side. Chahal just flat and into the pads of Mushfiqur Rahim. He's not going to miss out there. Too good a player. Just a little tickle on it. Pandya scurrying around. Well, the outfield, as we mentioned, is quick. Just kept going away from Pandya. And a much needed boundary for Bangladesh.
Yeah, the technique that we see from Ravindra Jadeja, the way he took that catch that we talked about in the England game. He's gone big and he's hit it away handsomely. 2 or 3 bounces into the mid-wicket boundary there. Against the turn, Mushfiqur taking on the short boundary and clearing it comfortably with no danger of any risk at all. 97 for 2, and he's gone to 14.
Well, that's his go-to shot. The little wicketkeeper, slog sweep, gets in a great position, nice and low. Head still, and a good swing of the bat.
In comes Chahal, again bowls, and Mushfiqur this time is happy to defend it on the offside and take a quick single. Very good by these 2 experienced campaigners. 19 overs gone, it's 98 for 2. More from Niall O'Brien, and then Simon Mann is coming in for commentary.
Well, busy as always, Mushfiq, 15 off 14, and Bangladesh approaching the 100. 19 overs gone, they're in a good position. They've lost the 2 left-handed openers, Shoma Sarkar and Tamim Iqbal, but it's again Shakib and Mushfiq rebuilding, putting themselves in a position to counter-attack later on in this afternoon. We should have a cracking game on our hands here. It's not a score that's insurmountable. A good bit of application should get them close.
They're hanging in there, giving themselves a chance. Shakib Al Hassan, over 500 runs now in this World Cup. It's Mushfiqur Rahim who is on strike, and he comes forward to his first ball of a new over from Hardik Pandya, runs it down towards behind third man, and he was looking for 2 and he slipped at the non-striker's end. I think he was definitely going to come back there, but once he'd slipped, absolutely no chance. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar down there on the square third man boundary onto it quickly. 99 for 2, start of the 20th over, 315 to win and stay in this World Cup. India still with a bit more work to do to qualify, especially if they lose to, well, if they don't lose today, then they're through, but if they do lose, on we go. Here is Pandya bowling round the wicket, guided away by Shakib towards backward point. Throw comes into the non-striker's end to make sure Mushfiqur Rahim is back in his ground, and there is no run.
A number of teams are watching this match as well. England, New Zealand,
England,
Pakistan, they'll all be watching.
Yeah, England desperate for India to win, really. It's funny, isn't it? 2 days after desperate to see India lose, desperate to see India win. Pragmatism of sports supporters. That's short from Pandya outside the off stump, chopped away by Shakib down towards wide third man, and Shakib comes back for a second and raises Bangladesh's 100. So that's one of the 300s knocked off.
Good time too. 20th over.
101 for 2, halfway through the 20th. So a further 214 required from 30 and a half overs. Shakib on 27. Pandya round the wicket, bowls to him. It's chopped away again, this time a bit closer to third man, straight to him in fact, so it's only a single. Throws on its way. Shakib moves to 28 and Bangladesh to 102 for 2 in the 20th over. I mean, just as a neutral, it would be fantastic if Bangladesh got close and gave us a really tight game later on, just to see how both sides deal with the pressure of the situation. Remember, India have 11 points, but a pretty good net run rate, plus 1.16. Here is Pandya bowling. Short, slower ball, guided away by Mushfiqur down towards fine leg. Fitzbit Burma sends in the return to Dhoni. And they're through for another one, 103 for 2. India's net run rate is the best of all the teams, and that includes Australia, who've already qualified. So they're just about there. They just need to put the full stop on the end of the sentence, but as we know, all sentences need a full stop at the end of them, and they haven't quite put it there yet. 103 for 2. Shakib on 28. And that's another slower ball from Pandya, which is forced away, muscled away by Shakib towards deep cover. KL Rahul is there, and they're through for another run. So that's the end of the over. 20 overs gone. It's 104 for 2. Where were India at the corresponding stage, Andy? 104 for 2 after 20 overs. Bangladesh
122 for naught.
That wonderful opening partnership between Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, worth 180. So 211 more from 30 overs, Niall.
Well, I'm just thinking the next 10 overs, if they can tick along on a run of ball, they'll be in a good position. The last 10 overs, what do they want? 80? Probably max against this bowling attack.
Chahal bowls, down the pitch comes Shakib, goes for a big drive and miscues, and then for a moment he wonders, where's the ball gone? I'm down the pitch, Dhoni's behind me, is he going to get the bails off? Well, unfortunately, it ran away from Dhoni to go after it. There was no run. Shakib just did not know where the ball was for a moment. Horrible feeling for a batsman. Chahal bowls. Shakib nudges towards short fine leg, picked up by Shami, who returns to Dhoni. And there is no run.
Yeah, if they can beat 155, 160 off 30, just keep ticking on. Just keep yourself in the game.
Stay in the game, yeah.
Possible.
Stay in the game. Chahal bowls, tosses that one right up. Shakib waits and waits and then nudges it away, but again straight to Shami. That short fine leg. There is no run.
He's getting a bit frustrated here, Shakib, because Chahal's bowling into his leg stump. He's got the 45 there that's cutting off. He's got 3 men saving on the leg side, long on, deep mid wicket and a deep backward square. Kohli's at short mid wicket.
Chahal again bowls to Shakib. Shakib drives and he gets it through wide mid on past Kohli. Kohli steps forward and applauds his bowler. Single given away, but Kohli happy with that. 105 for 2, 21st over. Shakib on to 30.
He's getting a little bit frustrated, Shakib. He's been tied down a little bit by the leggy. It's good bowling. He's bowling into leg stump, not allowing Shakib to free his arms. I just wonder, can Shakib Al-Hassan maybe move to leg stump and just try and get a bit of freedom through the offside? Because once he pierces the offside once, Kohli will have to change the field. All of a sudden, Mushfiq got a slog sweep away last over, and the field is changing.
Yeah, he's putting a man out towards cow corner, so all change with the field. The lap is on, as Niall points out. It depends where the deep back square leg fielder is going there. He's sort of halfway house actually between fine leg and deep back square leg.
Don't mind it as a batsman, because if you get a hard sweep, you've got a boundary.
Yeah, or if you get a fine dab, that's 4 as well probably. Chahal goes in and bowls it short outside the off stump. It's guided away out towards deep cover, and Rohit returns. Hits one of the practice pitches with the return on the bounce, skimmer.
Yeah.
106 for 2.
And there's still a lot of batting. Mossadegh can bat. Litton Das, obviously, fine player. Sabir Rahman's a good bat.
Here is Shakib coming down the pitch against Chahal. Guides him up towards long on the drive. Through for another single. End of the over. That was a good over from Chahal. Just 3 singles off it. 5 overs to 27. Bangladesh 107 for 2 after 21 overs, needing 315 to win.
Litton Das had a very good 100 against India in the final of the Asia Cup last, I think, September. So he has some, I think it was his only one-day 100 today.
Well, he's a lovely player. He's a really nice player. Played well down in Taunton against the West Indies. Must have been very close to a century that day as well. Let me just check his scores. I think it was 91 not out, thereabouts. 94 not out, beg your pardon, off just 69 balls. So he was robbed of 100 that day. West Indies didn't get enough for him that day, but very talented right-handed batsman. Also wicket keeper, one of 5 keepers, 6 keepers today on the pitch.
Oh, let's just say 20 wicket keepers, why not? Here's Pandya bowling outside the off stump, clattered away for 4. towards the wide third-man boundary. Full swing of the bat from Shakib. Fraction of width from Pandya, and a bit short as well. He threw the hands at it, and it raced down towards the wide third-man boundary. No chance for Bumrah down there in front of the scoreboard. 111 for 2. Shakib up to 35.
Can't bowl there to a lefty. Too much width. Beautiful position, Shakib. Crunches it.
Pandya tries again. A bit tighter on line that time. Angled in, on off stump, but guided away down towards third man by Shakib. I love the race to be leading run scorer in this World Cup. Someone with a big score takes over, then someone else goes past them, and then someone else tries to knock down them as well. I know you're thinking about your team, obviously, but we've seen in this match, we've seen Rohit Sharma go past Warner, and Shakib could go past Warner and Rohit Sharma. Here is Pandya bowling, dabbed away, push drive from Mushfiqur Rahim, finding the gap towards deep cover, through for another run. 113 for 2. Seeing a bit more of the Bangladesh supporters now. They're making their presence felt.
They're starting to believe, aren't they? They're two heroes at the crease. If anyone can do it for Bangladesh, it's Shakib and Mushfiq. They'll be watching all over Bangladesh. Every little nook and cranny will they be listening in?
Yeah. Well, I'd still far rather be in India's position.
Yeah, runs on the board.
But Bangladesh are not out of it. Shakib on 36. Pandya goes in and bowls. Turned away into the onside, short of Rishabh Pant at mid-on. Through for another run. 114 for 2.
Poor bowling. He's changed his field there. He's asked the captain Kohli to give him another man at backward point, and then he bowls the ball on middle and leg stump and lets Shakib just tuck it into mid-wicket, exactly where he's just moved his fielder from. So it's not clever from the bowler, Hardik Pandya, just letting Shakib just rotate strike, keep the scoreboard ticking. That's all he has to do.
Pandya from the pavilion end, past umpire Rasmus, bowls to Mushfiqur, short ball, pulled away, not really timed, but he's probably going to get 2. Is he going to come back for the second? No, he doesn't. Throw from Bumrah, plenty of revs on it. Dhoni takes it back pedaling. Single, 115 for 2 in the 22nd over. And these two beginning to peak. Just going back to that match in 2007, highlights I saw during the lunch interval. Here's Pandya bowling to Shakib, and Shakib flicks that away into the leg side for another single. 116 for 2. Mushfiqur Rahim was there towards the end. Well, he certainly played a part in it, and he was so fresh-faced. Teenager in those days.
Yeah, both of these batsmen at the crease scored 50s in that match 12 years ago. And as I said earlier on, it's the only time in international cricket history 3 teenagers have made half centuries in the same innings.
And the other one was
Tamim Iqbal.
Tamim Iqbal, of course, yeah. So 22 overs have been bowled. Bangladesh are 116 for 2. Shakib 38. Mushfiqur on 20. It's going to be Chahal to bowl and Shakib to face. Just assessing what's going on the leg side. India sorting out their field. Rohit's going out to cow corner or deep mid-wicket. There's also a deep backward square leg in as well. And here is Chahal from the city end. Tosses this one up. There's a miscue. It goes into the offside. Shakib trying to flick that away into the leg side. Miscue in the air into the offside. Short of Pandya at cover. And there is no run. A bit of air on that one. Oh, it could have gone anywhere. Fortunately for Shakib, it drops short of Pandya. Chahal moves in again. Again gives that plenty of air. It's driven by Shakib. Lots of bottom hand up towards wide long on. Turned by Bumrah. Through for a single. 117 for 2. Current run rate 5.24. Required from here 7.16. Just over 7s. Now back with Chahal. Mushfiq is hitting in theory to that shorter boundary on the leg side. There's a cow corner in, deep back of square leg in. And Chahal moves into bowl to Mushfiq. It's wider off stump there and a big leg break. Mushfiq let it go, read it. It turned and bounced quite considerably. Mushfiq allowed it to go through to Dhoni. England's women, 141 for 8 after 41 overs in that match against Australia. First match of the Women's Ashes in Leicester. Chahal bowls outside the off stump, cut away. This could go for 4. It will go for 4. Down to the third man boundary. He hit it to the right of Shami, who was at short third man, who had no chance really. And as we've seen a lot today, once it beats the fielder and there's no one covering behind, it races to the rope for 4. Nice shot from Mushfiqur. Back cuts. 121 for 2. Paul Farbrace is here.
Interesting little play that, wasn't it? That previous ball he left outside off stump, almost saying to Chahal, come on, try something different. And he did. He tried something a little bit quicker and a little bit of width. Great shot that from Mushfiqur. He's very good square of the wicket. He's one of the best, typical keeper. Sweeps, late cuts, reverse sweeps, very good square of the wicket. That's a brilliant shot.
Chahal tries again, bowls to Mushfiqur, he tries to dab it away, and wants the single, it's not there. Pandya, they've moved Pandya to short third man now, they've taken Shami out of there. They think that's a position which feels going to see a lot of the ball, yeah.
It's a big position. You don't mind him hitting the ball to mid-wicket, and he's not really in a catching position. Backward point is a run-saving position.
No run there. Chahal goes in to complete the over. Oh, he's caught. He's caught at forward square leg. He went for the sweep shot, miscued it in the air. Chahal's got his wicket, and it's not Pandya with a catch because he's just been moved from there. It's Mohammed Shami taking a straightforward catch. Third wicket goes down, and that is a big blow struck by Shami and Chahal. Mushfiqur Rahim out for 24. It's 121 for 3.
A really interesting field positioning that, because you've got square leg in front of square on the one on the leg side. You've got a deep mid-wicket, and the deep square leg is almost sort of on the 45 line back on the fence, so it's a huge gap. And the line that he's looking to bowl outside off stump, encouraging the right-handed batsman to sweep square of the wicket. The ball's bounced the fraction. You mentioned 2 balls ago that the ball turned and bounced a little bit. The extra bounce is what's done him there. He's looking to get it behind square, and he's just lobbed the ball to Shami. And it looks a disappointing dismissal, but actually you have to give the bowler some credit there for the field. He's left that big gap at deep square leg and said, if you want to hit it there, that's a risk. And he's taken the risk, and it's cost him his wicket. Excellent bowling from Chahal there.
Well, it's always great fun watching a wrist spinner bowl. It's in a shame in a way that the other wrist spinner, the left-arm wrist spinner, is not playing for India today. But you can understand why India made the change. 1 for 160 off 20 overs, the 2 spinners the other day. England played them really well. Shortish boundary on one side of the ground.
Interestingly, though, that length of boundary would be, there's an awful lot of Indian grounds that these leg spinners and miss spinners bowl on a regular basis that are no bigger than that, you know, and that's their skill, that you know, they've managed to develop so many high quality spinners on such small grounds, and it's not just the ability to spin the ball, it's actually the ability to drift the ball, to get the ball to bounce, the ability to change the way the batsmen play against them, and in that situation use the actual the smallness of the ground to be a bit bolder and set an attacking field.
Shami goes in and bowls to Shakib. Shakib turns it down towards fine leg. He's off quickly for the first. I don't think he'll come back for a second. He doesn't. Throws lobbed in. So 141 for 8 in that Women's Ashes match. And you can hear commentary on that game now online or on Radio 4 Longwave. And we'll be going there for the conclusion of the match at the end of this game. At the moment, India are clearly ahead. 193 more required by Bangladesh. And we're in the 24th over, so 26 overs left after this. Litton Das is taking guard from umpire Erasmus. Shami's going to bowl over the wicket to him. We've got 3 saving 1 on the off, 2 on the on. And there's a conventional field, really. Third man in and fine leg, deep cover, and deep forward square leg. We mentioned Das's exploits. We forgot to mention that in the warm-up game down in Cardiff, he made runs against India as well. Das, a right-hander. And here's Shami moving into bowl to him. He's with him now. Short ball, he goes after it, and he misses it. It's not taken cleanly by Dhoni. He leapt in the air, knocked it down with his right hand. tried to catch it, and dropped at his feet. That was an ambitious stroke first up from Lytton Das, looking for the uppercut. I suppose if he'd made contact, he might well have been off the mark with a 6.
Did look high though. No, it's a good call, I think, isn't it?
In terms of a wide, you mean, or
yeah,
not
just
being
in the
a wide.
height.
Yeah.
Moreira Erasmus showing that actually he just kept going, just kept taking off.
Shami bowls to Das, another short ball outside the off stump, and this time Das allows it to go by. It was one of those there that, I mean, if he'd been in, that he might have been tempted to go after that. It was a bit closer, a bit. There's always an element of risk, especially early on with those. When you hit them too fine, he goes to third man, or you get too much on it and he goes to deep cover. The ideal, of course, is to hit the gap between the two of them. Shami in his 5th over, 1 for 25. Into bowl to Das. That's on off stump. Das nudges it with an open face down towards third man, sets off. And again, trying to push the fielder, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar onto it and sending him return to the non-striker's end. And umpire Rasmus is having a chat with Das there. Not quite sure what that's about. I think he was. I think Das was trying to say to him, "Hold on a second. Just earlier in that over, do you not think that was a wide?" He was sort of saying, "I was jumping up to play that cut shot." Dear. There's no peace for the umpires, is there? 123 for 3. 24th over. 3:15 to win. Shami bowls, ran the wicket, dabbed away by Shakib, down towards third man. Takes his 41st run. 124 for 3. Have you ever umpired?
And it was so flat. If you played and missed 3 times, you should have just been given out for the fact that you played and missed 3 times on probably one of the best batting surfaces going around. But no, I definitely couldn't. I couldn't stand in the middle of an umpire.
Shakib Al Hassan has reached 40 for the 7th consecutive innings this tournament. Only one other player has 7 consecutive 40s in World Cup cricket. That was Matthew Hayden in 2007, and it's his 8th in all ODIs in a row for Shakib. Javed Miandad with 9 holds the record. Shakib has joined Marvin Atta, Patu Haris Sahel, Kane Williamson and Virat Kohli with 8 40s in a row. Good consistency, Daniel.
It is, and Marvin Atta-Patu did that. Did Marvin Atta-Patu not have a different record for consecutive ducks as well? Did he get 7 or something?
No, it wasn't quite. In his first 3 tests, he had 5 ducks, and he was out for 1 in the 6th innings, spread over about 6 years.
That was it. Chahal is in. Lytton Das goes back into his crease and plays it to backward point. Pandya does the fielding. There's no run. 125 for 3. 190 more required to win in around about 26 overs now. It's tough for Bangladesh, having just lost Mushfiqur Rahim. They've got to win this game or else they won't make the semi-finals. Forward comes Das and he glides this outside half of the bat towards Pandya. Again, there is no run. That's a huge wicket, isn't it?
Big wicket. It is a big wicket. Mushfiqur is a fantastic player, and he's someone that would be looking to bat a long time here with Shakib for that partnership.
Chahal is swept, murderously out to deep backward square leg, but to the fielder, so just the 1 run. Shakib, so much going to depend on him, but Lytton Das, was it against the West Indies when he came in, scored quite a few runs in partnership with, I think it would have been Shakib, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shakib ended 124 not out of 99, Lytton Das 94 not out of 69 balls.
So?
Oh, well, there we go. Winning partnership, that would be.
Indeed. Down the wicket comes Shakib, but he can't get it past the bowler who fields off his own bowling. The bowler who gave Mushfiqur a little bit of a send-off. I think there might be a little bit of bad blood between India and Mushfiqur. He, of course, famously started celebrating a bit early in the World T20 against India. Chahal bowls, that's worked into the onside. Short mid-wicket, there's no run. I think Bangladesh needed 2 runs off 4 balls from memory, and he started celebrating their victory, and they lost by 1 run. And
it's never the best thing to do, that is it?
It's not a good look, is it? Chahal bowls, and as does worked up to long on for a single to complete the 25th over. Shakib has 42, Lytton Das has 3, 127 for 3. After 25 overs in a different sport. Of course, Lothar Matthäus did that against Manchester United in the 1999 Champions League final, didn't he? Well, he was
Look how that turned out. Look how that turned out.
Again, not so good.
No, it's never good. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of celebrating until the game is done and you've finished it, because it can make you look very stupid, can't it? So we've seen that many times. We've all got stories of being involved in seeing people celebrating a victory before you actually get there. And it's not a pleasant thing to be on the wrong side of. It's going to be a seriously tough chase here, but you know, with Shakib, the form that he's in, you really feel that he's got to get a big 100 to get them close in this game.
On a pitch that's not getting any easier, we'll say that. Shami is in and from the pavilion end, and Shakib works him out to deep backward square leg. They think of a second, it isn't there. Shakib sends Litton Das back. He moves to 43 and 28 for 3. I suppose it's about keeping your nerve. For Bangladesh, the stakes, they know they've got to keep going for this. It's not like the Dhoni situation in the match against England, which was a little baffling to a lot of people watching. They're going to go for it come what may, because it's win or bust for Bangladesh today. Shami runs away from us, bowls to the right-handed Litton Das, who punches off the back foot into the covers. Chahal does the fielding coming in off the boundary. Just a reminder that England are playing the first Ashes ODI, England's women, against Australia at Grace Road today. They started off abysmally, 19 for 4, then 44 for 5, 98 for 6, but they've recovered in part. Still a bit subpar. 173 for 8 they are in the 46th over. Sophie Eccleston coming in at 9 has 27. Laura Marsh 21. Still 27 balls there for England as Shami is in down the leg side. Gets a bit of pad. It's tidied up by Dhoni. They'll come through for a run. Maria Rasmus signals a leg by 130 for 3. That match is live in full on Radio 4 long wave, as well as on the website, Sport app, BBC website, BBC Sport app, and will come on to 5 Live Sports Extra at the conclusion of this match, this World Cup match, crucial World Cup match. We've only had one dead rubber, which was yesterday. There's going to be another one, come what may, the day after tomorrow. But tomorrow's game is very, very much alive as well, when England play New Zealand up at Chester Street. 130 for 3 as Shami is into Litton Das. That's worked up to wide mid-on, where Pandya does the fielding and hurls the ball at the stumps at the wicket-keeper's end. There's no run. Paul, I was listening to the commentators opining yesterday from Durham that England are going to need a second spinner there. They thought that the pitch was taking a bit of turn, and England would want to bring Moeen
The other day, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and I thought it was a good pitch.
Shami's in, and Das pulls this short ball beautifully round the corner. He's going to get, well, he's only going to get 2 for it, because it's quite a superb piece of fielding by KL Rahul on the deep backward square leg boundary, diving full length to his right, one-handed, prevents the ball from going into the sponge, much to the delight of the Indian crowd there at the Holly stand. It's a super shot from.
It was a great shot and a fantastic piece of fielding. It really was. Brilliant piece of fielding. Last, he just about got his fingers on it and stopped it. I thought the pitch at Durham the other day looked a very, very good pitch. And although Sri Lanka only just about got to 200, they got off to a great start, 60 odd for 1, and going really nicely. And then some poor shots.
Shami in again to Litton Das, and he gets a thick edge to this, runs down to third man to complete the over. 6 runs from it. Bangladesh 133 for 3, 26 overs gone. Shakib Al Hassan 43, Litton Das has 7.
The one thing that playing 2 spinners at Durham might allow is obviously the fact that it is a big ground, it's a big field, square of the wicket in particular, it's a big hit, and it does encourage you to play, another spinner. The one thing that England do have is Joe Root, who's quite capable of bowling 10 overs in that situation. And I'd also say that, the way that the England bowlers bowled here against India on Sunday, that, the cross-seamers into the pitch with the big square boundaries actually has worked really well for England. And I think it's, I think it's a ground that you've got to run really well. It's a ground where, you've got to hit your boundaries as straight as possible. And I think that the cross seamers into the pitch of the England seam attack is probably the way to go. I would be surprised if they brought Moeen in. I think that maybe Joe Root might get a few more overs.
Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is into the attack from the City end. His first ball is played delightfully by Lytton Das off a slightly angled bat down to deep backward point for 2 past the dive of Dinesh Karthik at backward point inside the ring. 135 for 3. Das moves to 9. Well, we saw Joe Root bowl 10 overs. Was it at Durham last year? I think it was against Australia, and he bowled his 10 overs through really effectively in the one-day international against Australia. And he's also got a number of variations of late, which I want to ask you about, as Kumar is in, and that's played off the front foot, but again with a slightly angled bat, trying to carve through backward point, but he can't beat the diving. Noticed he's got this leg spinner that he uses quite a bit, and then we saw this kind of wobble ball that he bowled as well earlier in the World Cup, as well as the off break. So there are some tricks in that bag. Bhuvaneshwar bowls a full ball pushed up to the mid-off. They go through for a quick single, shy at the stumps, misses, and are they going to run back for a second? They are, and a little fumble in the backing up by Mohammed Shami, who by this stage now at long leg. The ball had been thrown so vigorously and wide over the stumps.
A bit of a shambles from Shami, wasn't it? There down at fine leg. Joe Root has worked exceptionally hard on his bowling, and I think he's worked out that actually he can be, a very useful spinner, whether it's in third spin for one-day cricket when England have played the 2 spinners, or even in Test match cricket. He's a very, very useful spinner.
Kumar in again. Pushed to backward point again, fielded by Dinesh Karthik again, and there's no run again.
And you're right, he's worked this sort of leg cutter. It's almost like a fast leg cutter rather than necessarily a leg break. So he drags his second finger down the seam and bowls it quickly into the pitch, and it's a very effective ball for him. So he's always playing. He's one of those guys who's always playing around when he bowls, trying something different, and it's a great point of view for England.
Kumar in, and that's punched off the back foot nicely. That's going to run away down to a wide third man. Pandya is after it, gets to it just inside the boundary sponge. 2 more to the total. 139 for 3. Das going well here, 13 from 16 in the 27th over. How many overs has Joe Root bowled in this World Cup, Andy, when you've got a moment?
He has bowled 7. He bowled 2 against Sri Lanka and 5 overs, taking 2 for 27 against West Indies. Since that innings in which he bowled all 10 against Australia last year at Durham, he's bowled 13 overs in 28 matches.
Odd. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar bowls a short ball outside the off stump, cut at and missed. End of the 27th over. 139 for 3. Shakib has 43. Lytton Das has 13. 176 more required for Bangladesh in 23 overs.
Very surprising stats, aren't they, from Joe in terms of the amount of overs that he's bowled. I guess that the one thing where England have been playing the double spin of Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid, there hasn't been a great deal of a need to bowl that third spinner, and when he has, it's been a few overs here and there. But as I say, what he does do, he gives England so many options. I think that's the thing about this England team, the balance that they have, through batting and bowling. They bat all the way down, bowling wise, but you've got people in the top order that can bowl you overs, and the teams that have that, it just gives you so much more flexibility, to do that. When you've got Stokes in your top 6 who obviously bowls, Root in your top 6 who bowls, that just gives so many more options, and that's why I think that they will be tempted to stay with the same team, same seam attack, and then if they do feel it needs to spin, then Rooty comes into play.
Hardik Pandya in from the pavilion end, bowls into the pads of Shakib. He can't get it away, it rolls out to the offside. Picked up in the ring, there's no run. What were his figures when he bowled those 10 overs?
It was 0 for 44. So
and they were on the spin, weren't they? They were all in one go, weren't they?
He bowled it in one spell from memory, and he bowls his overs in about 8.5 seconds.
Yeah, they're unbelievably. He is very quick. I mean, he just turns around, doesn't he, quickly in and bowls.
Which is a great thing to do, isn't it?
I think it's fantastic. It really does unsettle the batsman.
Pandya is in, bowls a full ball which is hit into the ground, and Pandya gets both hands to it, prevents it from going too far, and as a result they can't get a run. But just as he was doing that though, Rohit Sharma is, I don't know what position we want to call this. It's almost like a gully that he's standing in. And just as Pandya was coming into bowl, he outstretched his arms as if to say, you still want me here? Sort of thing. Well, as the bowler's running in, Rohit, it's not I don't know. I don't think he's going to make a change.
It's an interesting position, isn't it?
Yeah. Are we calling that a gully? I mean, it's sort of...
It is really.
Yeah. On his own. It looks weird. Short, pulled by Shakib, out through deep mid-wicket. Charles is after it. He gets to it, fumbles it slightly. They think of a second. This could be tight. Oh, and I think Lytton Duss is back with the dive. I think, but we're going to have a look at this. Well, the umpires are. Yeah. Umpire Paliagurage is going to go and take this upstairs. And I had to say that because I've been waiting all day to try and pronounce his name.
That was actually really good.
Thank you.
That was really good. I just call him Matura.
Right.
That's his first name.
Matura, yeah.
Much easier, yeah. I just found that a little bit easier to say.
Yeah. Well, it is a bit, isn't it? He's home, he's fine. We've just seen the replay of the dive, he's fine.
He saw the misfield, he saw the fumble and thought he might get a run on it, but it wasn't going to happen, was it? There was no chance there. And to be fair, Dhoni didn't look that interested, and Kohli, who was square of the wicket as well, there was no real celebration from that. They gave you away that he quite comfortably got in, but never run on a misfield. That's the old adage, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Presumably, it's not one that you can completely stick to, because there are some misfields a bit worse than other misfields, yes. And they're further away.
Yeah, exactly. Although you still do get. It's amazing how often an LBW shout results in the chance of a run out. Isn't it how often that happens? It hits the pad, there's a big appeal for LBW, the batsman's got a clue where the ball's gone, he panics as he thinks he might be given out, non-striker sort of is looking at the umpire to see if he's going to give him out, and there's a shy at one end or the other. It's so often that happens.
Do you know, I think the most famous instance of that was in the last World Cup when James Taylor against Australia.
Oh yes,
from memory,
indeed. Yes, indeed.
Was
in
trying
Melbourne.
to get 100. Yeah,
in Melbourne.
And
yes.
I think the umpires messed that up. Do you?
They did indeed.
We'll talk through that after this. Pandya bowls a full ball, worked up to mid-on as Shami runs round to field. Throw comes in. They get through for the single. 141 for 3. So let's remember, was it Anderson on strike?
It was Anderson on strike, given out by Aleem Dar, and the ball cannoned off. They ran. Halfway through the first run, Aleem Dar gave Jimmy Anderson out LBW. The ball was then picked up and thrown at the stumps, and James Taylor was out of his ground, and Kumar Dharmasena then gave it out, and it stayed out.
Pandya is in, and that's thrashed that, driven. And it's going to run through to the boundary for 4. I think it might have come out of a foot mark.
It has indeed.
On the pitch, 4 pitches along. There was a firmly struck drive by Shakib, and Dinesh Karthik moved across the field and then the ball bounced out of a sort of crease-stroke foot mark and flew over his shoulder and ran away to the boundary for 4.
Lucky he's still got all his teeth there.
Well,
goodness me. That's nearly hit him square in the face. At least it would have stopped the 4, though.
It would have stopped the 4. Yeah, it's the sort of thing that stops me ever thinking about playing cricket again. Is oh dear. Because it really did fly up a chin. I missed him by a couple of inches. In comes Pandya again, driven away on the offside this time. He's going to pick up 1 for it. He's going to come back for 10. He is. Throw comes in, and he is home. Relay throw, and Shakti brings up his 50 with that. A firmly struck square drive for 2. And Bangladesh are 147 for 3 after 28 overs. Crowd giving him... Well, Bangladesh section of it certainly giving him rapturous applause. He's not exactly their last hope, but he sort of is.
Well, he needs to get a big 100, doesn't he? Things about the umpires constantly telling the Bangladesh fielders to keep the ball up. At the moment, it has been a bit like baseball out there, that the Indian fielders are throwing the ball into the ground at every given opportunity. They're throwing the ball at the stumps, which sort of justifies throwing the ball into the ground, but the ball is being thrown around into the surface at every given opportunity.
Bhuvneshwar Kumar starts a new over, and his first ball is worked into the onside for a single. 148 for 3. Just quick news from the women's Ashes. England's women have been bowled out for 177. Top scorer Nat Civil with 64. Second top scorer, number 10, Sophie Eccleston with 27. It feels an inadequate total. 3 wickets for Elise Perry and a pair of wickets for Megan Shute, Jess Jonathan and Ashley Gardner. I'm going hand over now to Prakash Wakanka.
Thank you, Dan. 148 for 3 here are Bangladesh, chasing 315 for victory. Comes in Bhuvaneshwar, bowls, and it's worked away, a little bit of bat and pad. They'll take one, and now you can see that Bangladesh are, and this could be close. Virat Kohli has broken the wickets at the striker's end. There was a throw in from Hardik Pandya. He's down on his haunches. Is Shakib Al Hasan. I just get the feeling that he's made his ground there, but we'll have to wait and watch. It's 150 for 3, and this could be a huge moment in this game. He's home. He's home. Yeah, it would have been a shame for someone like Shakib, who's playing so well, Paul, to have been run out, and it's just as well, I think, in the fairness of the game, that he continues.
I was just going to say it might be it might be a disappointment for the Bangladesh team. It would also be a disappointment for the game as it stands. We need Shakib to get a big score here and get his team as close as possible. I was just making the point just prior to you coming on about the amount of throws going into the ground and the Indians trying to soften the ball up and maybe get the ball to reverse a little bit later, or the 2 balls to reverse a little bit later in this innings. And it's a tough one for the umpires to police, because when you're throwing at the stumps, you can justifiably throw the ball into the floor. So it is a tough one, and there's a few wicket ends out there to get the ball into as well.
Here's Bhuvaneshwar into Shakib, who comes down the wicket and drives up the ground, and there will be just a single to be had.
There's a real urgency, though, isn't there, in the running between the wickets from the Bangladesh team. They've really tried hard to get as many singles as they can, keep rotating in the strike. Good thinking that from Virat, not to keep the ball in his hands, but to flick it back onto the stumps. But
yeah,
it just stayed in his hands a fraction too long, didn't it?
It was the give.
It almost needed to just palm it straight back.
Push it straight on, and he would have had Shakib short of his ground. Here's Bhuvaneshwar in now, bowls to Liton Das, who works it away nicely to square leg, picks up a run. 152 for 3 now.
Reminded me of some of my best stumpings back off my left knee. They were some of the quickest and best I ever had. Rather than taking it in the gloves, I didn't bother with that. Off the left knee, straight back onto the stumps, and that was good enough for me. It used to work, though, amazingly.
Well, it's the result that counts, don't it? Not sure that people give points for how you get it. An edged boundary is just as valuable as a beautifully driven one.
Absolutely right.
Here's Bhuvaneshwar into Shakib Al Hasan, comes in and bowls, and Shakib pulls in front of square. Long chase for KL Rahul. He should cut it off, and the batsman will comfortably come back. Bangladeshi batsmen now showing a sense of urgency. Well, they might. But what I'm also noticing is that the Indian fielders are looking just a little bit, for the moment, frazzled. I don't know if it's just my impression, or you agree with that, Paul. We'll get your thoughts as in comes Bhuvaneshwar from the Birmingham end. Bowls, short bouncer. It's pulled nicely in the gap. He will run away for 4, I think. No, Hardik Pandya makes a brilliant effort, and with some help from KL Rahul, limits it to 2. But the runs are beginning to come a little more briskly now. 29 overs gone, 156 for 3.
I think you're absolutely right. I think there has been, last couple of overs, you just look at the body language of the Indian team, it just seems to be a little bit on edge. It's amazing how often, once a partnership starts to form in this situation, how the fielding side starts to feel the pressure, the bowlers feel the pressure, they start keeping that calmness, and the pressure very much is on the Bangladesh batsmen. And I think you're absolutely right that you can just sense an unease amongst the Indian fielders out there. But the interesting thing in this situation is that, you know, the Bangladesh team need to make sure that they stay with the rate. What they can't afford to do is backload it too much, because at the end they know that the Indian bowlers are so skillful at the end, and they're going to be very hard to score against.
Absolutely. Andy?
Shakib Al Hasan's half-century from 58 balls with 5 fours, his 55th score of 50 or more in ODI cricket, 900s amongst that. It's his 8th 50 score against India in just 17 innings, although he hasn't yet converted one to 3 figures. And I'll come to a small piece of World Cup history after the first ball of Hardik's next over.
We shall await that historic comment, as here's Hardik into bowl, and he struck him on the back pad. Dhoni is appealing, but Hardik isn't interested. I think may have been impacting him well over. Andy?
It's Shakib's 6th 50-plus score of this tournament in just 7 innings. Only one player has ever had 6 50s in a World Cup before. That was Sachin Tendulkar, who had 7 106 other 50-plus scores in the 2003 World Cup in Southern Africa.
That's a fantastic effort by Shakib Al Hasan. He's really been the mainstay of the Bangladeshi batting as Hardik goes in and bowls, and he launches this one. There's nobody there, and he's got it over long on for 6. Terrific shot. Just a jab, really, but timed it beautifully and cleared long on and the boundary. So 6 more to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh go to 162 for 3.
That's a proper shot, isn't it? That's a good length delivery, and he's just propped forward from outside off stump and lifted that over. Long on, and that's cleared the rope, cleared the boards as well. That's a fantastic shot.
Hardik Pandya goes in, bowls, again pitches it up, and this one's played to mid-wicket, where it's fielded by Dinesh Karthik. No run.
It was a real shot of power, wasn't
Terrific
it?
shot.
A real
He's
shot
a
of
very
power.
good batsman, this Liton Das.
Whoa.
Very talented, very skillful. And Virat Kohli, not often do you see him with his hands behind his back. In a bit of a pensive mood at the moment. Here's Hardik Pandya. Goes into bowl to Liton Das. Goes in bowls, and this one's gone up in the air. He's going to be caught. Yes, he is. So Hardik Pandya has struck for India, and the partnership is broken. Liton Das getting just a little bit carried away there, looking to pull this one on the onside from outside the off stump, top edge or top of the bat really, and just ballooned up. Dinesh Karthik takes it 162 for 4. And as easy as they come.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He just got a little bit carried away there. He's played that big shot. The beans are pumping. He's going to win the game in the next 3 overs, and he's lobbed a catch to mid-wicket. You know, that's, you know, he'll be disappointed, Liton Das there. He'll be walking off thinking, actually, having hit that 6 over long on, I've got a man not out the other end, 57 of 62 balls in Shakib. I just need to play for him. You know, I've got that boundary. I can knock that into the gap for a single.
And there's 20 overs to be bowled. I mean, there's a lot of cricket in this game still. And when you're batting that well, it's all nice. I mean, if he'd hit another boundary, I suppose everyone would have been saying, what a great shot, what a fantastic over. But that's it. The margin for error is so small.
Absolutely.
Andy.
Well, it's worth looking at the shape of this innings. The batsmen have been out for 22, 33, 24 and 22. The partnership's 39, 35, 47 and 41. And just following the duck with Lewis, Bangladesh have been basically slightly behind, and every time they've caught up, they've lost a wicket and dropped further behind. So they've been...
So we can legitimately blame Duckworth Lewis and the table for it.
They've had 4 platforms and fallen off them all.
And that's a key thing, isn't it? When you're chasing a score like that, you need partnerships. You need a big partnership and 2 other sizable partnerships. 20s and 30s and the same individual scores. 20s and 30s do not win you games in World Cup games.
Yeah, shot selection has been a problem. Pandya bowls, and Musaddiq, who's come in to replace Liton Das, plays it down to third man, and they'll pick up 163 now for 4. Shakib Al Hasan playing another stellar knock, is unbeaten on 57 of 62. Musaddiq is the new man at the crease, just come in for a fall of Liton Das's wicket. Another rather, on the way one looked at it here, another shot that probably could have been avoided, having just hit a beautiful 6 with the full face of the bat, flowing drive, and on this occasion just on the splice of the bat, simple catch at short mid-wicket, and Bangladesh lost their 4th wicket. Pandya bowls to Shakib Al Hasan, just a little bit in the air again as it goes on the bounce to Dinesh Karthik at short extra. 163 for 4 after 30. Good afternoon, Athar.
Good afternoon. And you just wonder what's going on in the mind of Liton Das, because he played a beautiful shot.
Gorgeous shot.
Over long on for a 6, and then he took the short one and soft dismissal in the end, because Bangladesh, I still feel, are in the game. It's
very much
up until that moment, surely, because we know Liton Das, how well he can adjust and adapt and bat. He got 90 odd against Australia. I think perhaps that was one of the reasons why I didn't see how they go about it. Shakib Al Hasan, as usual, at his best.
Phenomenal.
And they would, as I said earlier, they would have...
look at the dismissals. Swami Sarkar, Mushfiqur.
All having starts.
All having starts, and the nature of dismissal.
Correct.
Very, very unlike, particularly someone like Mushfiq, who's so experienced against the break, attempting a sweep, and it's gone straight to hand every single time.
Yeah, a short mid-wicket. I mean, the very unorthodox fielder. And all he had to do is just chip it over him, and probably would have found himself a boundary, but that's the way it goes.
Bumrah back into the attack from the Birmingham end, and he comes in and bowls to Musaddiq, who's working it to the backward of point, and a very good stop by Dinesh Karthik, diving away to his left. This is the new phenomena we're seeing, isn't it? Wicket keepers are making pretty decent fielders nowadays. Saw Johnny Bairstow the other day being an absolute brilliance in front of the Holly stand. Jos Buttler often does that in test matches when he's not keeping wickets, as Bumrah turns. Slip in place now for the new man. Third man, back foot point. Deep point, extra cover mid-off. That's the offside field. Bumrah in, bowls. And Musaddiq runs it down to third man, where Hardik Pandya does the fielding. And there's one more run to the total. 164 for 4.
I was just thinking where perhaps the Bangladesh team management would send Shabir Rahman ahead of Musaddiq Hussain.
Just to get a bit of impetus.
And I think the reason for that not to happen is because there's no Mahmudullah, and they feel that perhaps Shabir Rahman is better equipped to bat at number 7 instead of going at number 6, but they still have to contribute.
Yeah, the required run rate at the moment, very much within sort of manageable proportions, 7.6. Other Bumrah bowls as a thick bottom edge, races down to very fine third man for 4 runs. Maybe a little bit unintentional, but he'll take it every day of the week, and why not? 61 now to Shakib Al Hasan, 168 for 4.
Yeah, as long as he stays in and bat, Bangladesh will still feel that they're in with a chance. They would want to have someone other than Shakib Al Hasan to score a few runs, for sure, because that's what they need. That's what Bangladesh requires. Runs from both ends.
Absolutely, and every one of them virtually has got a start. That's the sad part if you're a Bangladeshi supporter here. Bumrah bowls, slow Yorker, well bowled, and Shakib gets down on it. What a skillful bowler Bumrah is. Smiles all around. Shakib has a grin on his face too. He knows he was a little bit bamboozled in the air, and it was only his own competence and skill that made sure that he didn't
have an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Bowls with great pace. So much variety, so much variation.
He comes in now around the wicket to the left-handed Shakib Al Hasan, who's holding this Bangladesh innings together at the moment. And once again, very nonchalantly just run down to third man for Shami to field, and he goes to 62, the total to 169. Now the target is 146 of 115 balls. Eminently doable, wickets in hand, Shakib to bat, and everything is possible.
Well, certainly, because if you have a set batsman like Shakib Al Hasan, we know once he crosses over 50, he's already done it twice in this competition, where they're converting 50s into 100s. And if he just stays on and pulls up a really big one, you never know. They can't afford to lose too many wickets. They have 6 wickets in hand. Yes, Shabir Rahman and Mohammad Saifuddin can certainly bat, but not much after that.
There's Bumrah into Musaddiq bowls, and nice Yorker dug out to backward point, no run. 169 for 4, 31 overs have now been bowled.
It'll be interesting to see how Shakib handles the pressure from here on. He's 62 of just 66 deliveries. I mean, he's doing his job.
Made it look so easy, and it's anything but easy. 322, Andy, if I'm right, the highest successful chase in the World Cup so far, but there have been a few above 300 which haven't resulted in wins.
Yeah, there have been quite a few 300 second innings. South Africa 309 early in the tournament against Bangladesh, chasing 331. England 334 for 9, chasing 349 to beat Pakistan. And there have been, just scanning down my list, Australia had a 300 against India that failed. Bangladesh against Australia
looking to muscle that one. And as he takes his gloves off, maybe just a little bit of sweaty palms there. And
I think Bangladesh is the only one who has chased more than 300 in the World Cup.
And won.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So they have done it in the past. That was against the West Indies with so many balls to spare, 51 balls to spare.
They romped home there, didn't they?
Won by 7 wickets. So that's what should be in the back of their mind. It has happened before.
There's Hardik Pandya bowls, and it's worked away on the onside, running the first one quickly, thinking about the second, and then seeing Bhuvaneshwar Kumar get to the ball, deciding against it. 170 for 4 in the 32nd now. And we'll wait for Hardik Pandya, who's bowled 6.2 overs and 2 for 42 for him. He's bowled intelligently. Hardik Pandya bowled within himself, not tried too many things. And he goes away now from the pavilion and away from us as well, and goes into bowl to Musaddiq. He's up, he bowls, and Musaddiq plays it, chips it over the vacant cover area for a single down towards sweeper, picks up 171 for 4. He can afford to do that for a couple of overs more, just make sure he gets the strike rotating, gets Shakib on strike, and then, as you said, Arthur, need runs from both sides.
Yeah, it has to happen. I mean, that's the belief that they have started when they came into the tournament with the sort of a reputation that, yes, sir, we want to do well and we want to prove it at this stage, in the global stage. And they've done it in the past, but knowing that this is the match that they have to win to stay alive.
Hardik Pandya to Shakib, who drives, or rather cuts of the back foot down towards point. It's fielded by Virat Kohli at the edge of the circle. No run.
So very crucial for Musaddiq to find the gaps. I mean, for that matter, Shakib will have also need to find gaps and pick up boundaries. Boundaries certainly ease the nerves, but rotation of the strike is also equally important.
Undoubtedly. And every time you see batsmen string the partnership, keep the strike moving around, left-right combination, short bouncer, and Shakib has to wait for an eternity before the ball arrives. And all he can do is punt it down towards straightish mid-wicket. A single recruits, 172 for 4, and Shakib on 64 now.
Yeah, 143 from 109 now. Let's see what...
well within striking distance, and they don't...
shots. What it's required is to pick up the right line, and then the length of the delivery. 3 men on the offside inside the circle.
Pandya bowls, and a swing and a miss from Musaddiq. And Hardik Pandya goes to ground after bowling that ball, rather in Mark Wood style. 172 for 4 now. 32 overs have been bowled, 18 to go in this game. Let's get the feeling we will see a very tight finish.
Well, hopefully for Bangladesh, because that's what Bangladesh fans, even back home, would be hoping for, to see whether Shakib can once again deliver the goods with the bat. He's already done it, but can he ensure a win in the end for Bangladesh? That is so very important for Bangladesh. We've said this over and over again. Bangladesh will have to need to win this match to stay alive and give them a chance against Pakistan. If they can beat Pakistan, first and foremost, win again.
Birmingham end is in now, and Shakib works it off his toes down towards KL Rahul coming off the boundary. There's 1 run comfortably taken.
Yeah, so I would also look back and see what Shakib did during his innings, that particular 2 matches that he picked up hundreds. I think it's also about picking up boundaries. Prakash, it's not about just rotating the side, because the pressure is creeping up. 142, 107. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, the run rate approaching 8 and over now as Bumrah is in, and he's played on. Just looking to run it down to third man there, Musaddiq. Inside edge onto his stumps. The bails light up. Bangladesh lose their 5th wicket.
Yeah, you would want to see what I really wanted to see from Musaddiq. Man, he's had to go back. It's an inside edge onto the stump to try to play down the ground instead of trying to open the face of the bat and trying to guide it away in the wicket in the third man area. It's a slower delivery. But having said that, if you can pick up the slower delivery, you can go down the wicket and take on someone like Bumrah even, because the fielders at mid-off and mid-on are inside the circle.
Absolutely. And drinks come onto the field as Bangladesh lose their 5th wicket. Still some distance to go. 173 for 5 now. Shakib Al Hasan standing there like a colossus, holding this innings together. And as Athar was saying, as long as he is there, hope will be there with Bangladesh. Can he find a partner who can make this into a tight contest, if not a victory for Bangladesh? More thoughts from Athar Ali Khan, and Simon Mann is...
But he needs support from the other end. It's now or never. They know it, knowing that it's just getting a little bit difficult, because it will create a little bit more pressure on Shakib Al Hasan, who's been batting beautifully. Losing wickets never good for any team whatsoever. Litton Das was looking good, but he got himself dismissed. So did Musaddiq Hussain. So India has managed to pick up 2 wickets quite cheaply and quickly to put the brakes on, and will put Bangladesh a lot more pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's looking probably a little bit more difficult after the loss of Litton Das and Musaddiq Hussain's wicket.
Yeah, it feels as if it's... Rahman is in at number 7, and then there's Mustafiza, Saifuddin, Rubal and Mortaza. Shakib Al Hasan still there, 65 not out. 173 for 5, 33rd over. The ground staff making their way off. They've remarked the creases. Everyone's had a bit of a break, drink. I don't think that any respite out there in the stands. I came back from Old Trafford on Thursday, back to London, and the train was packed, absolutely packed, the train with India supporters, and they were all shattered. They were all falling asleep. They're just, the intensity of supporting their team for 7 hours, dancing and singing and waving flags, taking its toll. And it is a sort of physical experience. You see the Indian supporters and the Bangladesh supporters as well. Tremendous fervour out there. And at the moment, those Indian supporters enjoying what they're seeing. Not 2 days ago when they lost to England, but they are today. Here's Bumrah moving in to bowl to Shabir, the number 7. He's up on his toes, gunning down towards third man. It's gone for 4. Well, there's a pacey delivery from Bumrah, but he used the pace, opened the face, no slip at home, and it flashed down towards the pavilion end boundary. Absolutely no chance for Hardik Pandya, who's at third man. And Shabir Rahman is off the mark. First ball is really well played, guided away up on his toes, and just using that pace from Bumrah. 177 for 5. 315 required for victory. Now back with Bumrah. 138 to win from 105 balls. Bumrah 1 for 31, is in his 6th over, goes in now, ball to Shabir Rahman. It's a good delivery, just digs it out in time, finds the Yorker, goes out towards mid-wicket where it's picked up by Kohli, and there is no run. I think there's a good debate to be had about opening bowlers in this World Cup. We've just seen all the batsmen produce all their runs, with Warner and Finch and Shakib and Rohit all over 500 now. Who is the most effective bowler? Here is Bumrah going in to bowl, and that's pushed away by Shabir out towards cover, and there's no run. Bumrah not in terms of wicket taking, but in terms of accuracy and difficulty of getting away. But Mitchell Stark, of course, right up there with wickets, 24 wickets at 15. He's been fantastic again. In terms of the leading wicket takers, Bumrah does not feature in the top 7 on Andy on Sunday. Here he goes again. From the Birmingham end of the ground, far end from us, the City end, moves in now, bowls to Shabir. Shabir is squared up by that one, looking to turn into the onside, leading edge. Balloons away into the offside. There is no run. As the end of Bumrah's over, he's bowled 6 overs, 1 for 31. Bangladesh 177 for 5 with 17 overs left. They need a further 138 to win. Andy.
Bumrah's wicket there was his 11th of this tournament. He's averaging 24, so pretty tight. He's not had the major hauls of that Starkers. That Stark's had 4 fourfers, including two fifers. But Bumrah's economy rate of 4.52 is the lowest of any of the bowlers who've taken 10 or more wickets. That's about 20. Bowlers.
It just we have the economy like whatever amazes me about Bumrah is that with the kind of run-up that he has and it generate that kind of pace, it just still amazes me.
Yeah, it is remarkable. Here's Hardik Pandya. He's got a smoother run-up certainly than Bumrah, and his first ball of new over is guided away by Shakib down towards third man for a single, run number 66 in this phenomenal World Cup for Shakib Al Hassan. 178 for 5. Now, Andy, we were talking earlier, looking ahead to the end of the week and the Bangladesh-Pakistan match, and we were saying if Pakistan were in a situation where only they were in with a chance of going through to the semi-finals on Friday and not Bangladesh. So Bangladesh were to lose this, England were to win tomorrow, and then could Pakistan possibly knock out New Zealand? By winning the game and overhauling them on net run rate. You've just been end to bowl to Shabir. It's full and he comes half forward and defends into the offside, picked up a cover and there's no run.
So I put in a scenario in which New Zealand have bowled out for 150 and England chase it in 20 overs, and Pakistan did the same to Bangladesh, and that still leaves Pakistan quite significantly behind New Zealand on net run rate, still being penalised for that opening game when they were skittled for, was it 106 but it counts as 50 over innings.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, it's a very weird way of doing that tiebreaker, the net run rate.
Net run rates.
Yeah.
Well, Sri Lanka have lost out because they lost a couple of games to rain, in theory. Here is Pandya bowling, turned away, down towards fine leg by
net run rate, but say the net run rate was level and they were to win their last game and England were to lose, they'd be level on 10 points. England would go through on more wins. Sri Lanka, because of their 2 rainouts, would have 4 wins and 3 losses. England would have 5 wins and 4 losses. So Sri Lanka would have a better win percentage, a better win-loss ratio, but would go out because of rain. It's a loophole in the laws that the ICC must close.
This is Pandya round the wicket, ball short, and Shakib goes after it, tries to swat it away into the leg side, misses it. It's not taken cleanly by Dhoni, but no damage done, no byes, no wides. 179 for 5.
So the logic for having most wins as a tiebreaker in cricket doesn't really make any sense, because in a sport, in football, it's done in order to encourage
And is that the wicket that confirms Bangladesh's exit from this World Cup? Shakib Al Hassan out for 66. Pandya gets the wicket. He was playing into the offside and the ball just looped up to extra cover. Pandya 3 for 46. Bangladesh 179 for 6. And the India flags wave. The Bangladesh supporters will be sitting in their seats with their heads in their hands. Niall O'Brien is here.
Shakib gone, Bangladesh gone, you would think. Checks the stroke, a little chip up. A horrible feeling when you just chip it straight to a man. You know you're going to be out, but you have to wait a fraction of a second. Virat Kohli, fist bumped in the Shakib Al Hassan, 66. He's been wonderful again today. Was great with the ball. Another superb knock. Bow out of the World Cup here in Birmingham.
Yeah, they still will have one game to go against the extinguished today. 4 wickets left, 136 to win. 16 overs left after this one. And their main man gone. Shaifuddin is in at number 8. Comes in to join Shabir Rahman. So it looks like, at the moment, it's not done yet, but it looks like it's 4 from 5 with Pakistan, England, New Zealand, India and Australia. Well, Australia already through, but those are the 5. Sri Lanka cannot qualify now. .79 for 6 after 34 overs. So effectively what you're saying, Andy, is if England beat New Zealand tomorrow, that just about sorts it out in terms of semi-final places.
Yeah.
Because the net run rate is just too big for Pakistan to close. I mean, you could have a sort of miracle result, couldn't you? I mean, Bangladesh all out for 50, Pakistan knocked them off in 5 overs, and that would have a massive impact on net run rate.
It would, but because there's now 7 or 8 games that are totting up the total, even a result like that might not be enough. Because I modelled 2 thrashings, and there's still quite a big gap between New Zealand and Pakistan.
Okay, but this is Bumrah moving into bowl. From Kohli, looking to be aggressive, looking for run-outs. It's the non-striker, slower ball from Bumrah.
But just looking back on the big screens, Shakib's dismissal, slower ball. Shakib went leg side to try and give himself a bit of room to hit over offside. Totally outfoxed. Chippy a catch up. Simple catch.
Well, Pandya 3 wickets today. Shabir waits for Bumrah. He comes down the pitch, has a huge mow at that. With mid-on and mid-off up, you can understand why he did it. In the situation they're in, he missed it and he went through to Dhoni.
But the last time we were on commentary, probably an hour ago, we were talking about where they needed to be. Runs per overs, they were in a good position. I just can't help but feel they went a little bit too hard too soon. If they had 2 more wickets in hand, 180 for 4, they're right in the game here. Maybe just gifted a couple of wickets.
He's off for a single shot, the stumps misses, and they get that single. 180 for 6, Bangladesh in the 35th over. 135 more required, and part of the problem for Bangladesh has been this: Tamim Iqbal 22, Shumi Asaka 33, Mushfiqur Rahim 24, Litton Das 22. They've got in, they haven't been able to go on. And Shakib out for 66. So we've now got 4 players over 500 runs in this World Cup. Shaifuddin, left-hander, slip in. Kohli's put himself in at slip. Bumrah round the wicket to bowl to the left-hander. That's very full, clipped away towards deep back. With square leg. Shaifuddin is off the mark. Second ball with a single. Score game. Australia and India vying for top spot. India can still make top spot, even though they haven't quite qualified yet. Bumrah bowls, dabbed away. Oh, attempted dab inside edge past the stumps. Well stopped by Dhoni away to his left-hand side. Prevents it going down towards the fine leg boundary before. Shabir Rahman there looking for a dab shot. In one sense, he got a bit lucky. In another sense, he was a bit unlucky.
Good work by Dhoni, showing his reflexes are still fairly sharp. Cross-seam delivery from Bumrah. Dhoni diving away to his left. Good save. Could easily went for 4, as you mentioned there, Simon. Could easily chopped it back on the sticks.
Last ball of the 35th. Bumrah in the sunshine. for 6, 15 overs left, 3:15 to win.
If I've done my sums correctly, if New Zealand were bowled out for 100 and England chased it in 10 overs, and Pakistan bowled Bangladesh out for 100 and knock it off in 10 overs, New Zealand would still be ahead.
Really?
On that run rate.
So that is really extremely bad news for,
yes,
for Pakistan.
And it shows the importance of those rained-out games. The table is hugely skewed by them. That, you know, Sri Lanka and Pakistan and Bangladesh, New Zealand, possibly that 1 point they got from the Indian rained-out game, might end up being the most important point of the tournament. Pakistan could have one more, Sri Lanka could have 2 more, Bangladesh could have 1 more. Obviously not.
Shabir allowed it to go through, went flying through to Dhoni, 183 for 6. There's still a full 15 overs to go. I agree with you about wins. You think, oh yeah, it's about being positive, isn't it? You know, wins. You know. But if you're rained out, there's nothing you can do, is there? You're completely helpless.
So the chances of a team having 2 ties are almost nil. So the only way that rule can come into play is with rainouts.
Yeah.
So it's penalising teams that get rained off. It's absolutely absurd.
I agree with you. Pandya rushing in to bowl to Shabir. Short, pulled away, down towards deep back with square leg. Might get 2. Might get 4. It will go for 4. The fielder down there, he was going away to his left-hand side. He's down on the ground as well. He tried to knock it back, but it was hit so hard. All he could do was push the ball into the...
Beaming on.
Yeah, Bumrah is down on his back, a deep back with square leg. As a fielder, one of his teammates has gone over to see him. He looks to be in pain down there. He went down with the left hand, tried to throw it back inside the rope, but his momentum sort of took him to the ground. He put 2 hands down. Now, what is it? Is it shoulder or is it knee? As he slid there on the boundary.
Well, he's walking off, so
should
be okay.
Yeah. Is he going to go off the field though? It looks as if he is. Well, that's always a worry when one of your key players slides like that in the outfield. He's walking okay, so whether it's just it's a right shoulder. He's just feeling his right.
If they're walking off okay and they're having a conversation with the physio and having a little smile, they're normally going to be okay. Probably precautionary, wise move.
So 4 runs to the total, 187 for 6. That's full from Pandya. It's pushed back by Shabir to the bowler, and there's no run. So Pakistan really have got to hope that New Zealand take England out tomorrow, because it's going to be very hard for Pakistan to overcome New Zealand on net run rate, and that's if they beat Bangladesh on Friday at Lord's.
Well, New Zealand could certainly turn England over.
Absolutely,
you wouldn't,
could.
On the weekend with England playing so well and New Zealand playing not so well, you wouldn't think so, but definitely they've got the goods to do it.
There's a short ball from Pandya. It's pulled away towards deep square leg, deep backward square leg. The ball goes spinning out towards deep backward. It started at deep square, and the fielder had to keep on going there to his right-hand side from deep forward. 2 more runs to the total, 189 for 6, 126 to win from 87 balls. Shabir to 13 with those 2 runs.
Just thinking about these rainouts, and if there was an alternate way of, would teams prefer some kind of alternate way of getting a result, i.e. a bowl out for 2? Is there something that could be brought in instead of just a washout being a washout? Some kind of entertainment for the people that turn up and have some kind of game? A washout in the rain, a bowl out in the lashing rain.
This is Pandya moving in to bowl to Shabir. Shabir comes forward and defends up towards mid-off, and there's no run. Well, they wouldn't have had, one of the games, they wouldn't have had to have a bowl out in the rain because it was sunny by the time they called the game
there
off.
We go.
In Bristol. But I mean, we used to have bowl outs in knockout matches, didn't we?
Yeah, I used to love a bowl out. Watching a bowl out. Yeah, I was involved in the bowl try and play against Sri Lanka, get 2 points as opposed to 1, for example.
Pandya bowls, Shabir swings, it's towards mid-on, they go for a quick single shot, the stumps misses, that would have been out if Pant had hit. Shabir is home, and that was the penultimate ball of the over, so Shabir was looking to stay on strike there, but he's just looking to keep the board ticking. He's on 14, it's 190 for 6. Target is 315 to win. Bangladesh not absolutely dead yet in this game, but it's going to be extremely difficult for them to win from here. 125 more required from 14 overs after this one. It's the wickets left, as Niall was saying, that's the big problem for them. It's the 4 left, and their main players all dismissed, top 6 dismissed. Saifuddin will be Daniel Norcross.
Thanks, Simon. Well, they're going to have change in the bowling because Bumrah's gone off with a sore shoulder. He's getting some treatment, so they're going to have to change up the bowling from the Birmingham end. It looks like Chahal is going to come back into the attack. He's got 1 for 34 off 7 so far. Has got a little bit of chase out of the wicket today. Interesting to see how Sabir Rahman goes about him attacking the leg spinner. You would think Sabir might take him on, so Dhoni behind the stumps will be getting ready.
Well, he is. He's definitely take him on, isn't he? He's got to. He absolutely has to, because at the moment, Bangladesh are in very perpetually in the last chance salute. Every time I come on air, I'm in the last chance salute.
I've never been to a saloon. You know, you see those bars.
Oh, I've been to a speakeasy in Adelaide. I'll tell you all about it. Chahal is in, and this is driven firmly out to the covers by Shabir, and he got the single for it. 191 for 6. It's extraordinary. I was eating in Adelaide, and it sort of finished eating about 10:30, and you know, Australia can be quite weird about finding anywhere to drink.
Oh yeah, they lock
evening.
you out. They lock you out.
Yes, they really aren't interested in taking your money or revelry of any kind, it seems to me. They're a strangely ascetic bunch. And mercifully, our waiter was also doubling up as a cocktail waiter in a speakeasy that was hidden behind a wall. It was great. Chahal is in, and the boys are nicely tickled, but he can't beat the fielder, Kedar Zadar, but short, fine leg, there's no run. So he took us through it, and he pushed at this wall, and behind the wall, there was revelry and laughter. There was fun and cocktails. There was a cocktail I had repeatedly called the penicillin, which was very good for what ails you. Tossed up and defended by Saifuddin. Back to the bowler. Picked up by Dhoni in the end. Tosses it back to the bowler.
Last chance saloon.
And I went to that last chance saloon really quite a lot. Then it's going to be picked up by Kedar Zadar, and there's no run. Something's got to give very shortly, because that required rate is moving perilously close towards 10 and over. 6 wickets down. These two can give it a bit of welly, but off the back foot this time. Work to mid-wicket, and Kohli collects the ball, throws in. There's no run. 191 for 6. 13 overs remain, 124 runs required. Saifuddin has 1, Shabir Rahman has 15, and Bangladesh are heading, I said they're heading out of the World World Cup. It doesn't work like in football, obviously, because it's a round robin stage.
Yes.
So they will have to go through. A win for Bangladesh in that match is not going to take them into semi-finals, but it may yet thwart Pakistan if England trip up tomorrow against New Zealand. This World Cup, we were worried only 2 weeks ago, weren't we, that the last 10 days of qualifying were going to be meaningless, and actually there are going to be, in the end, very few dead rubbers, which is terrific for the competition. Mohamed Shami back into the attack from the pavilion end. Shabir Rahman is facing. If you are not familiar with Shabir, go and Google search him, because he has the most extraordinary eyes. He advanced on Shami and smashed it without perfect timing and in the air, but between the two fielders. Picks up a boundary off the first ball of the over, 195 for 6. He moves to 19. I believe that there's similarity to like a Siamese cat's eyes, because they're blue and deeply blue, like emerald
green almost.
Sapphire blue. I get my precious stones mixed up. Sapphire blue, and so people have called him the cat. And Shami is in short, and he's got that fine. He's going to run away down to the boundary for 4 more. A brace of boundaries off the first 2 balls of the over. I glance at Prakash. He's entirely calm. Behind me, 1-9.
Cup, and he got 100 in New Zealand in that series, I think. But he is a talent, old Dracula eyes.
Very attractive man to watch batting. And he's still guided this nicely off the face of the bat down to third man, shortish, bit of width. And the 200 comes up for Bangladesh, a 200 for 6. Shabir moves to 24. I believe he took objection to a member of the crowd meowing him.
Is that right?
That's how I've heard. Have you ever been meowed?
Well,
I don't think I have. Well, I say that.
There's been a lot of cat talk today, and I'm a dog lover, so I'm not feeling the feline love today.
Can you not? Be both. Is it one or another, really?
Cats. I'm going to annoy a lot of our listeners out there, and I'll probably go down.
13 runs off this Shami over for his hat-trick. Despite that hat-trick and despite the runs that the wickets that he's taken in coming back into the side, Shami, he's just starting to concede a few runs in his last 2 outings. Before this, 4 for 40 and 4 for 16 in his first 2 games, and 5 for 69. So amazing 13 wickets in 3 matches, but he just went for a few in the last game. 69 there, he's going for a few here, short and over the shoulder of Saifuddin. He's not going to get a wide for that either, I don't think, which will displease him as it's taken by Dhoni.
You take those numbers though, 4,
really
4 and 5, even if you are expensive, it's all about taking wickets to try and stem the
now. Shami's in round the wicket to the left-handed Saifuddin, who lofts this high over mid-wicket. Is it going to go all the way? Not quite. Just lands about 2-3 metres inside the boundary at wide long on, a straight mid-wicket. There were 4 boundaries in that over and a single. 17 off it, 208 for 6. It's Bangladesh flags that are flying away to my left suddenly. And now there's 107 required to win in 12 overs. The required rate's down below 9. And, well, this is terrific fun. Bangladesh are going down fighting if they are going down.
Well, they're not far away from where they would really like to be at this stage. It's the 6 wickets that are going to It's something always happens when there's a change of bat.
Hardik Pandya was out straight after he changed his bat. He faced 2 balls with 2 bats in his innings. Edged the first one, edged the second one. Chahal is going to start a new over, his 9th. He's going to bowl to Shabir. Long on and long off a back. There's a deep mid-wicket. He's in, and Shabir winds up for a big drive, but he can only get it along the ground to the cover field. It comes in from in front of the Holly stand, throws it on the bounce. One more, 209 for 6, Shabir 25. The leg spin of top edge, and it's going to just evade. Short fine leg and run down to the boundary for 4. Well, Jasprit Bumrah was very interested for quite some time. A wry smile teases across Chahal's mouth or lips, and
I don't know why he's smiling, because it was a terrible ball. It was down leg side. It was a hit me ball. Okay, it was in the air for a fraction of a second, but it was down leg side. Yeah, he smiled. He thinks he's unlucky, but he got what he deserved.
Bumrah was, as he turned, he was sort of off balance, almost pleading with the ball to drop into his hand, wasn't he? Almost like, you know, Hamlet talking to Horatio's skull, whatever it is. Down the leg side for a again, Seifuddin. This is tossed up, but flicked into the onside. In the end, he remained static at the moment that he needed to be a bit more motive, perhaps, and ends up getting nothing on it.
We're a dangerous pair for a 1/4 in a game that's just fizzling, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Chahal in. That's a thrash into the offside with no timing, but because there's no timing, it goes so slowly to the man on the edge of the circle. They can get through for a single. That man is Rohit Sharma, who's boundary. 11 runs off that over, 96 needed to win, 219 for 6. Seifuddin has 14, Shabir has 29. The game is bubbling up again.
Beautiful shot, really good sweep shot. Sabir Rahman just practiced it over again at the non-striker's end now. Beautiful technique, gets down really nice and low. Premeditated, yes. Execution, absolutely superb. India, obviously on top. India, for me, look a very good side down that can close out a game. They look like if they can get a decent score, they're very good at closing out a game. They've got mystery with the ball. They've got some good
factors, the quality of the bowling and the number of wickets that Bangladesh have lost, but we've seen some pretty crazy things this World Cup. May I refer you to Carlos Brathwaite? So, who knows? Andy?
Just to say, Jasprit Bumrah is back on the field. He went off injured, got injured around the boundary, but he is now back on.
Well, so he was the one who was imploring Yorick, the skull, earlier in the last over. So, yes, you're right. You're right to point this out. He's back out there. Hardik Pandya is around the wicket to the left-handed Seifuddin. And short, pulled. Wow. Through mid-wicket for 4 on forward square leg. He really nailed that. Goodness me. This is Hardik Pandya's last over. Shami was bowling the previous over from this end. He had a 1-over spell, and that 1 over went for 17. Pandya's got this 1 over, Andy.
32 off the last 13 balls.
Game on. Game on here. Seifuddin, big strong man, muscles it away. It's a long hop, it must be said. It's a gentle drag down, hit me ball. It's prompted a change in the field. Fine legs come inside the 45, inside the ring. Deep square, deep mid-wicket, long on. So leg side, third man in the ring as well.
Hardik Pandya around the wicket to the left-handed side foot in, and he just dabs us into the offside. Go through for a quick single. Pandya flies, tries to stumps. If it hit, he would have been out. He was dawdling a bit there, Seifert, a bit ball watching. He played it out to the offside, and Pandya in his follow-through had to go a fair distance to get to it, and he looked like he was sort of wading through water, the batsman, and he didn't even bother putting a dive in, or, well, he would have been out by 3 metres.
But gave up the ghost. He was miles out. He knew when he called for a single, it was...
Didn't we, when the West Indies lost that crucial wicket to the run out after a fine partnership. Pandya in, worked into the onside. Now as he played this softly enough, he wants to shove it, and no, he says no, couldn't quite make it, didn't get it quite softly enough out to deep square leg, and they get through for the single as Rahul runs in from the square leg boundary. 225 for 6. I noticed that Prakash has disappeared. No, he's come back now. I just wondered if he'd gone for a restorative mantra, a little chat to himself. Let him know that things are okay. He's a passionate man, Prakash.
Wonderful man.
Wonderful man indeed.
Pleasure to work with him this tournament. First.
Keeper on the bounce, there's no run.
Well, Dhoni's one of the best actually in the world at those horrible balls bouncing in front. They're never easy. You see the Bangladesh keeper Mushfiqur Rahim parry a lot on and knock a few on and concede buys, but Dhoni always seems to either mop it up cleanly or else just gets the old pads in the way and just stops it with the pads.
The win predicted, by the way, is Bangladesh at 6%, so they're not giving them any hope. Down a wicket comes Seifert in, and that's really well bowled by Pandya. He followed him down the leg side, and it thudded into his pad and plopped out ineffectually into the onside for another dot ball. It's been a good over from Pandya.
I reckon Pandya was about in line with Murray Erasmus there, and the bat
to the left-handed Seifert in, who gets a short ball outside the off stump, and it's not a wide. Much less, again, Seifert is bewilderment. It's happened to him a few times. 6 off the over. Pandya finishes with 3 for 60 from his 10. Bangladesh 225 for 6. They require 90 from 10 overs. Shabir Rahman has 30. Seifert has 19. How big is this partnership, Andy?
The partnership is 46 from 6.1 overs.
That's not bad, is it? It's not bad. So, this is going to work quite well. The win predictor says no chance, really. Tiny chance at 6%. Doesn't feel quite as desperate as that to me, because the 2 batsmen are in. I mean, Shabir over deep mid-wicket, misses it, goes through to Dhoni. There's no run. Where are our boundary riders? We've got one in front of square on the offside boundary, in front of the Holly stand. We've got the wideish long off and long on, a deep backward square leg and a deep mid-wicket on the protecting the short side. Down the leg side, wide, taken by Dhoni. He's going to eye that short boundary, you'd imagine. I say short, it's about 58 metres, is that? It is short. Yes, it is short.
It's a chip.
Yeah.
Oh, it was quite wide. I reckon it probably just went over the guideline. Didn't bounce. It was very, very low. And then Sabir Rahman, he swung so hard he ended up on his backside. Dhoni was looking just in case he lifted that foot, looking for a stumping.
Predatory eyes of Dhoni. Comes Jahal again on the pads and pushed down to the offside for a single.
Good bowling this.
This is
good
terrific
last
stuff.
over for Shah. He's been good today, 1 for 48.
Saifuddin's going to wind up here, though, isn't he? Look, now what have we got? Deep square leg. Kohli's heading out to deep mid-wicket. He's not doing it particularly quickly. The onside. He might think of two here. Chahal is chasing after it. No. That's great work from Chahal. He dives to get the ball, and there's a huge puff of dust as there's a sort of almost like a baseball slide, like a baseball runner sliding into.
Oh, Paul Farbers won't be happy. Indian player sliding on his lovely square there. They're playing here in a few weeks on the old Champo match. Big divot in the
For a must-win for Bangladesh. It's looking unlikely, but crazier things have happened in this World Cup. We shall see. To take you through the next 20 minutes or so, it's going to be Prakash Wakankar after some more thoughts from Niall O'Brien.
A good partnership, 50 or 46. Saifuddin and Sabir Rahman. A lot of work to be done. India have this game under control, you would think. They batted well, put a decent score on the board after Rohit Sharma century. Shakib Al Hassan.
We just cast an eyeball over the bowling card. There's 3 overs for Bumrah and 3 overs for Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. So that's how Virat Kohli is going to bowl out the 9 overs, 3 from each of his seamers. Now, what's the field? Sweeper cover, long gone, deep mid-wicket and deep backward square leg. And it's third man. Here's Shami bowls on the leg stump, worked away. They look for the second, but they won't get it because Dinesh Karthik is quickly across. 230 for 6 in the 42nd. Are you confident? I think I'm beginning to sort of breathe a little bit easier now, but wasn't the case.
You were pacing, weren't you, earlier? You were pacing round
with
at the
those
back.
17 runs of that Shami over.
Yeah,
was
you
a little bit. Yeah, there was a little bit of
pacing
pressure
a bit,
on me.
weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a little.
And to be honest, I mean, look, you've seen more cricket than I have internationally, I'm sure, and the fact is, stranger things have happened. So, what's that about chickens and not counting them? So, we'll wait. Here's Shami, around the wicket. And he drives through the offside, finds the gap, 4 runs. And Virat Kohli is not impressed, wondering why. And someone's got to go get the ball, boys. Both of them have left it to the substitute fielder to run around from outside the ropes. Now, I haven't seen that in a while, Paul. Have you?
No, there's a discussion taking place now, isn't there? This is what I love about Virat Kohli, where he's just constantly in the game the whole time, isn't he? It really is hot on the sleeve. He's passionate. I just love
42 balls. Shami bowls, and this time Shabir is just, Saifuddin rather, is just playing it back to the bowler. And now Dhoni is walking up to, maybe he's going to, no, he's not asked for the element, just looking at the angle. Now this is really what Dhoni does well, isn't it? Just gets there, manages the angles, manages the finer placement of the fielders. Yeah.
All the time, all the time that Virat is being very expressive, MS is being very calm. They're a good pairing.
In goes Shami from the pavilion end, and
think over sort of wide long on area, and the ball gripped a fraction, turned away a fraction from him. Great skill in the end, or extremely lucky to get a thick inside edge through square leg for 4. I'm going to go with the skill element rather than the luck element.
Yeah, because now you see 77 of 50, eminently doable.
Definitely.
Unless India can pick up a wicket, Bangladesh are going to run them really close here as he plays this one down to square leg. They'll take one, and the return comes into Dhoni. .25 to Saifuddin, and Virat Kohli with a few creases on his brow. Shami over the wicket to the right-hander. In he goes now, bowls, and inside edges it down to back to the square, single. 240 for 6 now. Another expensive over Shami. Now 8 overs, 1 for 61. 11 coming off this one, and that's about the rate they need. So they're keeping up with the required run rate at the moment.
Nicely poised, isn't it? But the only thing, Bangladesh, if they were 5 down at the Jadeja back on the field, and why wouldn't you get him back on the field? The only thing you have to say is, with the high level of skill that this Indian attack have, scoring 10 and over consistently off these last 8 overs is going to take some doing, and Bangladesh are going to have to play exceptionally well. There were very few cracks in this Indian team when it comes to bowling.
Clearly with him, they're not going to try the second run. So 241 for 6. Now the left-handed Saifuddin on strike.
Not to the Hoover out there, he just sweeps up, doesn't everything. He is a magnificent athlete. His pace in the outfield, Jadeja, is fantastic, and he's so quick to the ball and so quick to release it. That's what makes him such a good outfielder.
You know, you talked about that catch, Paul, and you said for you that was the catch of the tournament. It in fact reminded me of almost thinking like you're watching a National Geographic film.
it will be a fantastic result from here.
Here's Ishwar again in from the Birmingham end, comes in and bowls, and down the wicket comes.
It's a wide.
It's left to the umpire.
I know that you're quite keen on India winning, but if it doesn't land on the pitch that's closely mowed, it does tend to get called as a wide.
Yes, Bhuvanesh. Off the wicket keeper. Watch it on the reef side.
I think he's hit his pad, hasn't he?
Hitting the
That
pad.
He didn't carry anyway, so.
Here he is now from the pavilion end, goes in and bowls, and he bowled him with a slow ball. The bails have lit up, and the crowd absolutely going wild here. You can count as many tricolours as you can think of as India supporters celebrate the fall of the 8th Bangladeshi wicket.
Well, Andy's got his confidence back now, having, after your put down from the previous comment, he suggested that Bumrah was right to come on and bowl at this stage. He looked very pleased with himself when the stumps were dismantled then.
It's not an outlandish prediction to suggest that Bumrah's going to take a wicket in the last few overs. Since the last World Cup, he's the leading wicket taker in overs 41 to 50 of one-day internationals. That's his 46th wicket in the 40 innings that he's bowled in this phase in matches between the 10 teams in this World Cup. He has the second best economy rate at 5.78, fractionally behind Yuzvendra Chahal, so he could be top by the end of this innings. He has the most wickets, and he has the third best average. In fact, I might need to update that. He's, Josh Hazlewood and Pat Cummins are the only two ahead of him. Hazlewood's absence may yet prove crucial for Australia. In fact, Bumrah with that wicket has just leapfrogged Cummins, so second best average in the last 10 overs. This is counting bowlers who bowled at least 40 overs in the last 10.
You've relaxed as well with that wicket. He's relaxed with your praise. And the Indians are a little bit more relaxed with that wicket as well, aren't they?
I think so.
I think everybody's a little bit more relaxed, except the Bangladesh dressing room. They'll be disappointed with that.
Well, the skippers come in now. Mushraf-e Murtaza, he's on strike as Bumrah goes in and bowls. Yorker, and it's dug out. Precision, almost like one of those laser-guided missiles, right in the block hole. And Bumrah, the skill that he has, that earlier ball, just running his fingers on the side of the ball, slower. The batsman was through the shot, just clipping leg stump. Now that's my point. If this was an LBW call, it probably was umpire's call. Here's Jasprit Bumrah in to Mushraf-e Murtaza bowls, and he's playing it away on the onside. They're taking the run comfortably. He's not going to push his skipper, is Shaifuddin. So now it's up to Shaifuddin to try and pull a rabbit or two. Can he do something remarkable here? 69 of 39, and as Paul said, 2 or 3 more wickets in hand. This would have been very much a doable task. Just looks a little bit hard now.
Yeah, it does, and certainly when you've got Bumrah to bowl 2.5 more overs, it just makes it exceptionally tough for the Bangladesh batsmen, and not having someone in on a big score who could just
towards the end of what has been a terrific career for Bangladesh. Yeoman service, both as a bowler, a player, and indeed as a leader. Here's Bumrah in bowls, and slower ball, nicely played away to square leg by Murtaza. There'll be one more to be had. 248 for 7 in the 44th. 1-0 ball of the 44th over to come.
Yeah, you'd be
the throwing in particular as Bumrah bowls, and it's nicely played by Shaifuddin.
you know, you would like to think they're going to get
with
close.
Shakib batting, you might say,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. But you just can't see them. You just can't see them getting these runs. As much as I'd love to see this be, you know, a last ball, last over, fantastic finish against the high level of skill, as we've said, Kumar, Bumrah, and Shami. I'm just not backing Bangladesh to get this job done.
Well, Bhuvaneshwar now has the ball in his hands. He's going to bowl. And it went straight over the long on boundary for 6 runs. In comes Bhuvaneshwar. Now, how will he respond? And he's nicked it, and Dhoni has taken the catch. And so Bumrah strikes straight back, and they lose their 8th wicket to Bangladesh. Murtaza got Dhoni, bowled Bhuvaneshwar Kumar for 8, and Bangladesh now 257 for 8.
Yeah, good piece of bowling. Kumar there being hacked over long on from Mashraf Mortaza the previous ball, and it went up an awful long way for 6. That one he's looking to repeat the dose, hit it over long on, heads back, looking up at the stars, and looking to whack it away to the far end of the ground here. And he's just got a thick nick through to MS Dhoni, who's taken a very comfortable two-handed catch, moving away to his right. But they need to play this way. They need to play shots. They can't just block their way to this total, and it is going to take some big shots. With that, is obviously going to open up the risk of losing their wickets.
Absolutely it will, and that skill that you talked about, Paul, once again in evidence. A couple of thoughts from you on what Bangladesh might have been able to do different, and then to take you to the conclusion of this game, Simon Mann.
Well, I think the one thing that Bangladesh will look back on
Rubal Hussain is in at number 10, and here is Bhuvaneshwar Kumar to bowl to him. And first one is turned away into the onside towards back of square leg. He sets off for a single. It's not there. Shy at the stumps. He's wide. It's backed up by Chahal. And there is no run. It's Rishabh Pant throwing the ball from the back of square leg. Another 15 minutes of Shrafi Mortaza playing like that would have been entertaining. That was a massive blow for 6 down the ground. Next ball. 257 for 8. Kumar goes in, bowls to Rubal, who swats that away somehow. away from the fielders in the inner ring, down towards third man. Bumrah sends in the return, and Rubel is off the mark with a single. 57 to win from 32 balls. As they had 5 wickets left. I mean, it's all ifs and buts, but if they had 5 wickets left, then we would be strapped in for a really exciting finish. But just the 2 left. Saifuddin's played well. 33 not out, the left-hander. India making 314 for 9. They've just found it harder and harder to score after an opening stand of 180 between Rohit and KL Rahul. Rohit Sharma 104. Well placed to be the player of the match. If he's not the player of the match, well then it could well be Saifuddin. That's down the leg side, slower ball, and he attempts to glance it, but really just accepts the wide. So 1 more. 56 to win.
Well, if Saifuddin does get
to his right, he sprinted, but he could not quite get there. That was really well played by Saifuddin, who just opened up his body and smashed it through the offside. It was a low full toss that was going to cannon into the base of middle and off. But excellent contact made. 263 for 8. Saifuddin to 37. Here is Kumar going in to bowl to Saifuddin. It's on leg stump, turned away through mid-wicket. And Kartik's after it.
and made the odd wide, because I'm not that confident of Rubel the way that he started his innings of getting too many. But all the time Saifuddin's in, then
driven up towards long off, almost Yorker length, difficult to get underneath that. Okay, any power into the shot. Goes up to Hardik Pandya, and he does take the single. I think we're too far away, really, for him to turn singles down at this stage. He's got to rely on Rubel. Rubel's got to score some of these last, 50 runs.
he's put his left foot outside towards sort of square leg. Looks like he's going to slog sweep it over deep mid wicket, and has played with the straightest bat and drilled it straight back at Bumrah's head, who's done well to get out of the way of it. He has. Straight down the ground for 4.
He really hammered as hard as any ball's been hit today. Here is Bumrah. Goes into bowl to Rubel, and Rubel gets a short ball which is swatted away out towards deep cover. He could be caught. No, just in front of the fielder. I think initially he was just on his heels there. I think he thought it might be going over his head, Rishabh Pant. He just stayed back for a moment. If he'd picked it up really quickly then, I think he might have been able to get... Because if England's wins, England's got 5 wins. And if they did tie today, the most Bangladesh should get with 10, but with 4 wins. So they have to win. Tie is not good enough to keep them alive in the competition. .43 to win from 4 overs. And it's going to be Shami, who's gone for 61 already from his 8 overs. He went around the park a bit towards the end of England's innings the other day.
So he's got 2 to bowl, Bumrah 1 and Bhuvaneshwar 1,
yeah.
I'm thinking.
Bolter Rubel, who winds up again and makes some contact, a Q-ender up towards straight long on. There's a massive wind and the ball goes dribbling out towards long on.
Got a Bolterwood bat, I think. What's his top score? So we know his average is 4. What's his top score?
17.
17 or 17?
Wide is signalled. He just took the gamble there that was going to be called wide. Didn't try to play a shot at it. He just pulled out of it. So one more.
very handy. I want to see if Rubel can play that same shot again, where he just gets the front side out the way and tries to hit it straight.
Here is Shami moving into bowl to Rubel, and Rubel gets a very full delivery, which he has to reach for because he went leg side. He missed it, past his off stump, through to Dhoni. Dot ball.
He might need to rethink his batting tactic. I think they've worked out now that his front foot goes towards square leg.
Is on strike for the first ball the next over. It wasn't quite a free hit in a way because they can't really afford to lose a wicket, but he could play a bolder shot of that delivery, I suppose, trying to go for the boundary rather than just get something on it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But what they can't afford is dot balls at this stage, and that's where the conversation now taking place. The 12th man's come on with a drink and some gloves. I'm sure the conversation will be, look, just make sure, Rubel, that you get something on it. Make sure you give Saifuddin as much of the strike as
Picked up by Kohli, who's positioned himself at long on. One of the best fielders in the Indian team, and so he wants to be in a key position. 35 to win from 17 balls. Now Rubel is back on strike. So this is the moment here. Get bat on ball, or
yes, get bat on ball. He's just got to make sure that he gets something on it and he gets Saifuddin back on strike. That's the most important. What he can't afford to do is just swing, miss 2 or 3 balls, and then end up really putting the pressure on Saifuddin, who has played exceptionally well for his 46 or 36 balls. He's played really well.
Right, so long on, long off in, deep mid-wicket, deep back with square leg, deep cover, fine leg up inside the circle, 2 third men up inside the circle. Here goes Bumrah, and he bowls to him. It's a length ball which is swung away into the leg side. He's made contact, and he gets a single out to deep mid-wicket. Kartik picks up and lobs in the return. 34 required from 16 balls.
That's his job. All he's got to do is make sure that if Saifuddin gets off strike, he gets him back on strike next ball. That's the most important thing that he He really has played well. There's a fantastic cricket shot, that down the ground, straight back, and that's really important, that he knows that Bumrah's trying to get the ball full and under his bat, so rather than trying to go across the line, Actually look to hit as straight as you possibly can. He's timed it brilliantly, and even Cody can't get there.
Thank you for choosing to listen to BBC Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current program on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contractual reasons or temporary technical fault. Please try again later. Thank you for choosing to listen to BBC Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current program on this station is unavailable. Temporary technical fault. Please try again later. Thank you for choosing to listen to BBC Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current program on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contractual reasons or temporary technical fault. Please try again later. Thank you for choosing to listen to BBC Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current program on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contractual reasons or temporary technical fault. Please try again later. Thank you for choosing to listen to BBC Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current program on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contractual reasons or temporary technical fault. Please try again later. Thank you for choosing to listen to BBC Radio on the internet. Unfortunately, the current program on this station is unavailable. This is either due to contractual reasons or temporary technical fault. Please try again later. Thank you for choosing to